How is it going, everyone? Welcome in to Rivals Sentinel preview for LXC. I am Righteous, the coach of the roster. Joined with me, the captain CB, the Barbarian. Not just the captain, the CEO, CFO, all the O's. How you doing, CB? We haven't streamed in a hot minute. We will see, indeed. So, quick rundown of what we're gonna talk about tonight. We're gonna have a preview of all the team rosters, updated as of this morning, I think, the 20th this morning. Then we're gonna do some player rankings, some team rankings, and then talk a little bit about what we got going over at Rivals. So, that about cover it. Hold on, we're having technical difficulties. Yeah, CB slammed his keyboard before we went live, so now everything's broken.
Yeah, I think we're good now. Maybe you're probably fine.
Okay, I think we're good. Confirm CB's live.
Yeah, mic check. Tony, it's been a minute since
Okay, sweet.
I've been on here. Okay, let's start it up. No, just kidding. Just hop
let's
in.
start over. My name's Righteous. This is CB.
I think they heard
CB,
you.
how you doing?
They heard you. You're the.
I know. How you
talking
doing? They
one,
didn't.
so.
They didn't. You could have said I'm doing awful, man. This weather's got me down.
It's everybody's freaking out here in Florida because it's oh my gosh, it's 30 degrees. So it's just like the end of the world here.
CB, there's a request to turn me up.
Might be on you.
Am I loud enough in Discord? Turn me up in Discord, brother.
Turn me up, Johnny. I don't know. Yeah, let me see.
So
I did turn you way down.
Welcome everybody into our stream. For those of you just joining, we're to go in order. Roster preview as of this morning. I don't think I touched it since then. We're gonna do player rankings, power rankings for the teams, and then a little bit extra at the end. So let's jump into the roster review.
Let's do it. And let me make sure I just answer a couple questions in the chat. We are planning to do this every week.
You get the pause, by the way. You still.
I did, right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this every week. We're gonna see how we're gonna navigate stuff that involves our team, because anytime we say anything good about our team, it would be bias and whatnot. So we're gonna have to navigate that. But the plan is just to give out some content from a perspective of a team that's actually in the league. And you guys can hate us for it or love us for it. Either way, content is content, how I see it. But yeah, every week we'll probably aim for Monday, but no promises. So we'll see.
It'll be up. You'll see like some maybe announcements or whatever. But anyways, so what are you looking at? We're gonna have the teams, the players, positions, their all-time peak rank. So not what they count for the league, but like if this player performs at his absolute peak or his or her peak, what can we expect? And then their five most commonly played champions in that role last split. So we're gonna start with ourselves here at Rivals. Have some players returning: Death Knight, Salo, CB, as well as some new players and players being elevated from the sub roster. BK has been around for a while, finally getting to play. And then we have Big Rev, a newcomer to the organization. Don't want to divulge too much about what we got going on because we don't want to put ourselves on the back foot right off the bat, but got some stuff cooking. CB, how we liking the roster so far? Playing a couple quick games with them.
Yeah, so it's still new. I think we've had all of maybe 2 scrims with this roster. We had a roster swap, picked up a new player like you said and whatnot. So it's still a learning curve. Don't want to give away too much, but we're feeling pretty confident. going in. There are 14 teams, so a lot of teams to get through. But yeah, overall, it seems like we're chilling. We just like some good vibes over here. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the good thing about these guys, they have a coach that they could blame if they lose. Just call it draft cap and move on.
Sure.
So there's the rivals rundown. Looking at the champions, just real quick. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
We're already gone.
we don't
We'll
want to
do
give we
the
don't
we'll
give
do
them
like
too
a little
much.
bit of champion. Well, yeah, we'll look at everybody else's champions. That's true. So NLE Choppas are week 1 opponents actually. Diet Coke in the top lane, Koi no Yokan, I think is how you pronounce it, in the jungle. Soul Ram mid, Ferdy bot, and Triumphant support. Anything standing out from NLE for you, CB?
Yeah. We've heard and we've seen definitely their bot lane. I think they're a duo together. Definitely going to be one of the bot lanes to beat. Not to discredit anybody else on their team, just those are the two that I've seen play before. So yeah, and it's looking like a lot of similar champ pools. At least I can speak from the support standpoint. So interesting to see this bot lane. I can see them being one of the best in the league as we go.
Yeah, for sure. Diet Coke has a variety of champions as well. I'm always a fan of Zach Top. I think it doesn't get played enough. Then Soul Ram, a bunch of mages with an Akali in there. So top to bottom, this team looks really good. No really like glaring weak spots over at NLE. And like you said, I think Ferdy and Triumphant, they were runners up in one of the tournaments we hosted. They looked really good while playing. So gotta see how they do. But we gotta make it choppy. Chopping along. Anyways, that was a dumb pun. I was trying to go off of Choppas.
You tried your best. Is all that matters.
Yeah, I tried it. It doesn't always hit. OTL Obsidian. Ah, dude. Pilum Murialis. Pilum Murialis? I don't know. I need the phonetic pronunciations of everybody's names by
Yeah.
Monday.
For everything that we butcher, just drop it in the chat if you actually know how to say stuff. But
Latex Monkey Nuts, Corrupt, Kakino, and Lunar Paw. Top jungle mid ADC support. One of the strongest rosters probably in the league from what we were looking at. Any thoughts for OTL Obsidian? Anybody standing out? Oh, the little stars, by the way, are the captains.
okay, that's what I assumed. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Definitely the top half of the map looks very strong. Obviously, all of this is the on-paper stuff since nothing has really started yet. But yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be one of the better, if not, top 2-3 junglers in the league for sure. Just looking off some ranks and whatnot and champ pools. So top half of the map might be tough to beat if you're playing OTL Obsidian.
Yeah, Lunar Paw. I'm a little bit concerned about the champ pool from support. I'm not gonna lie, that's like the one thing that's standing out to me. But other than that, really solid players all around. Definitely one of the teams to beat coming up here.
Absolutely. Moving along to our next team, OSG Avalanche. Finally,
OSG,
might be the first team we've seen some golds. At least,
yeah. Besides ours,
the on-paper metric. We don't talk about that.
yeah, Matrix in the top lane, OSG Novocaine in the jungle. Brissinger, 35 in mid. Zarces, I would assume is how you say it, in bottom. And then Billy Butthole rounding it out in the bottom lane with support.
Yeah. I mean, this one's going to be... we see some interesting champs. We see a little bit of overlap top and mid. Got some flex action going on. I'm liking the support champ pool. It's easy to say. I mean, I guess we'll get into this later as we talk about the actual rankings of the teams, but lower compared to some of the other teams that we've already looked at, and we still have a decent amount to go. So this one's going to come down to a lot of team chemistry. I think that's just how you overcome just rank disparities. So we'll see if they can do that.
The local Neko life. I agree. Matrix is a major wild card. He's actually playing out of position for this team. Typically a mid main, which is why you see so many mid lane champions flexed up there in the top lane. So we'll have to see how he does, because as evidenced by the ranking, not one of the highest ranking members of OSG. Could be an issue, but we'll have to see. Moving right along.
How dare this team?
Yeah, dude. So you got CEY, CE standing for um, what is it? Contingent Esports. That's right. That's right. They have a couple of people listed now. So you have Prussian in the top lane, but I didn't have their OP. Was too lazy to look. I'm stealthy at jungle. Millie Bobby Brown in mid. That it wasn't completed either when I was doing this. So
Yeah, it's still not.
apologies. Iron Sniper in bottom lane, and then nobody listed for support. Um, so we're just going off of I'm Stealthy and Iron Sniper. But for the purposes of like the player rankings and such, or sorry, the team rankings, they're gonna get dinged because they don't have a full roster on paper. So we're just putting them arbitrarily at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what we can see, uh, it's tough because you're gonna have an 80. Assuming that they're, I wouldn't say scrambling, but putting together a roster at the very last second. You're gonna have an 80 carry probably with no chemistry with a support, and a jungler no chemistry with anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe they already have games together, but if not, uh, yeah, this one's gonna be a tough. Probably they'll be scaling the first half of the season.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And when they do get a roster together and games start going forward, expect them to jump around quite a bit, just because we didn't have a lot to go on. But we will be moving on. For those of you turning in, we're just going over the rosters. We're actually jumping. Every team will be from Division 1 and 2 alternatively, so that way everyone can kind of stay engaged. We don't just go sector by sector. But TFF Chilled Guys is the next team on the list. TFF is an org that's been around for a little bit now. And I recognize Islamic Samurai and Efron. Efron, I think, was part of Dorado for a long time, or it was either Dorado or that other org that's been around, CB. Yeah, it was CB. What were they called?
My
CB
turns.
Rangers, maybe.
Yeah, something like
CB
that.
meant something like that. Anyways, but top to bottom, Coach Silent K, Islamic Samurai, Efron, Chrome Malone, and Poodle 25.
Yeah, I think this team's gonna be definitely one of the teams to beat. I recognize a few of the names.
Mm-hmm.
Efron and Samurai stick out. I think at least Samurai from MSL a while back. Yeah, mid. I mean, that's overall just a strong looking roster with some champs that can definitely pop off. We'll see how it translates. I don't know if the actual roster has full team chemistry or not, but if they do, this is going to be a scary team to play.
So the one thing of note for this roster that I could find is Islamic Samurai has been playing support and solo queue for like the last several splits. Jumping up a jungle, I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but it was a little bit hard to find the champ pool for Samurai. So maybe it's strategic. Maybe he's just like keeping everybody off guard there. So we'll just have to see how he actually performs in jungle.
If you can play support, you can play any role. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That's what CB tells himself when he lies at sleep at night.
Yeah, that's why I don't.
I'm a
That's
good
why I don't
support.
role swap
I'm a
because
good
the other
league
ones are
player.
just too easy.
OSG Sub Zero. Uh, keeping with the winter theme for Other Side Gaming, RH Cheese in the top lane, No Name in jungle, Mundoman in mid, Ventropy in the bot lane, paired with Dorsky at support. Thoughts on OSG here, CB?
Yeah, I think this is one of the teams that I don't. I might recognize no name, but maybe other than that, I
There's
don't
two no
recognize.
names. I don't know which no name it is.
Yeah, so I'm like I don't know if I recognize a lot of players. So it's tough to speak. But I will say having another team at the same elo is always a good thing because you should have a lot of, in theory, internal practice. If not, you have subs to always scrim. So with there being two OSG teams, I like to see that. As far as the actual players go, I really like Dorsky's Chample, especially anytime you
Mm-hmm.
see.
Oh,
They,
two Nautiluses. My bad. That's a
true,
production error for me.
true. I didn't even see that. That's funny. Uh, but I mean, just that means they're double good at Nautilus. But I'm a big Morgana
Yeah.
player fan also. So, and any of the sports that have Senna, I feel like you're either really really good at Senna or you're just kind of trolling your team picking Senna. So we'll see which one this player is. But yeah, looks
Do
like a
you
solid roster.
pretty sure that Nautilus is supposed to be either a Lulu or Nami, so really good variety of champs between the enchanters and the engage. So um yeah, super solid roster. Not the highest in terms of individual rankings, but I could see how this team could be very versatile looking at those champ pools. Lots of different variety of champions, except for ADC, because ADC is the same regardless of who you play.
True, true. I will
Just
note
kidding, I'm just an ADC hitter.
a couple players on this roster, at least as of earlier. Yeah, have a couple ranked games to go. Don't forget to do those.
True, true. All right. Moving right along, we have HP Blacktip, Hydro Pump Tip, top lane reverse, jungle infiltrate, middle red sharky, bottom lane key, and support. Slivik is what I'm going with. I've tried several pronunciations, don't know what it is. That's the best I got. Uh, First team that actually has co-captains, which is interesting to see. Um,
Hmm.
Coached by somebody I've worked with a while. Not coached by, sorry, managed by JJ. Um, One of the bottom of the table rosters in terms of individual rankings. Not a lot of these players are very high. Even the ones that are listed Emerald right now, that's their peak rank lifetime. So a lot of these players were gold or plat the past couple splits. Thing that stands out to me is Infiltrate and Red Sharky just recently swapped. So it was Infiltrate originally in mid, since moving to jungle. Um, I'm wondering if that's because there's just a better macro sense from Infiltrate overall. Uh, it's kind of an interesting storyline to follow. We'll have to see how both those players perform.
Yeah,
But they've split. Yeah.
it's either gonna be really good or really bad. It seems like role swapping like that. Um, but I guess they always have the option to then swap back, so that brings some interesting versatility
Yeah.
for their team. And I like to see some champs that you don't see that often. I'll point out the Senna again in the support role. I like to see the Singe in the top lane. You know, he's super strong right now. Just
Okay.
interesting
Look
to
at that
play
guy's
him.
top laner's pool.
It's
That's a
just it's
pool where you lock in. You're like, I'm gonna be a terrorist for the opposing top
hey
laner.
yo.
You're gonna be, stuck up with me with Singe or Malphite or Yorick. Like I'm just gonna be annoying in lane, out of lane. So
Yeah, something you don't see a lot, I feel like, in competitive, even at the Platy low. So it'll be interesting to see if that works out um, for them or not.
yeah, we'll have to see how this team does. One of the teams that does have a coach. So uh, whenever there's a coach, I like to see improvement week to week. So we'll see what happens as the
So we
split
can
goes
always blame
on.
the coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
It's my
that is
plan.
true. Braum Lives Matter. Coming up next, Tiny Fist of Fury in the top lane, Kama in the jungle. Drakenrich, which I think is playing over in Arbiter at ADC, but he's playing mid for Braum Lives Matter. Bottom lane Stoic and support Brute Souls 166. Quick thing to note, if your name is Brute Souls and you're playing almost entirely e-girls, maybe get the name change.
Hey yo,
That's all I was saying.
it's mind games. Most played champ right now, at least the split is Thresh and Nautilus. So
There you go.
that's they're making their way.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, there's the Pike there. It's hidden. There's Pike and Alistar. There's some broody champs there. Um, yeah, but look at top to bottom. The major concern, the glaring thing that stands out to me, and we'll touch on it a little bit here when we're going over player rankings. Um, Not expecting them to have the best bot lane duo in the league. Uh, just going off of the ranks. Like I said, this is peak rank. I think Stoic right now is uh let me double check before talking myself into a hole here.
Unranked?
Um yeah, but
Unranked
last
or silver, yeah.
yeah. And then Brute Souls is bronze right now. So a little concerning down there, but it's not, I mean, it's a team game, right? So we'll have to see how they perform in Sector 2.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I see a Karthus poking out. I see a Teemo, so we'll see if we get any of those crazy picks this split from Braum Lives
Give him a
Matter.
curveball. Yeah.
Yeah, you can throw some teams off just by playing some random shit.
Yeah. DP Hellfire, which the last second roster change actually was able to get it. Mid lane was the Blossom Blade, but just Blossom Blade. Subbed out for check your minimap. Um, just a quick note. I think it's actually an upgrade for DP. Not, I mean, I've never seen either of these players play, but I think check your minimap has a pool that's more suited for comp. So, it's just kind of interesting to note. But top to bottom, you got Angry, Useful Int, check your minimap, DP Rico, and Never Knows Best.
Yeah,
Thoughts for DP?
I think if I covered like the ranks and whatnot, I actually like a lot of the champels here.
Mm-hmm.
Both bot laners, I like champels a lot. Definitely seen some strong champs right now for this split. So I mean, you see two golds and two plats, and you see a lot of other teams with multiple emeralds, but I don't know. I think this team's going to be top 10 for sure, if not top half. Top half.
There you go.
Yeah, well, there's 14.
Uh,
That's not decent, but
I just want Useful Int to pick Team of Jungle one game.
maybe.
That's my goal for DP Hellfire. Other than that, I think Angry, his champion pool, high volatility, which I guess when paired with check your minimap, a lot of scaling AP mid laners there could be good. Having a strong side laner, but yeah, definitely excited to see what DP puts out. I know they were around for a bit, then they left, then they're back. I think they do content as well, or they do graphics or something. So I'm excited to see what they bring to Sentinel League. They have a cool logo at least.
True.
Plasma Wolves. Up next, top lane Neptune Rises, jungle Nunus in Paris, one of the best names in the league. Middle Silent Assassin, bottom Nike Dragon, and support Aoka. Neptune Rises. We're talking about Terrace in the top lane. Teemo, most played by far. Do you expect to see it in comp?
That's going to be one of those where you're drafting against them and you're just like, do I really have to ban a Teemo in a comp game right now? You got to make that decision. So I don't know. I've seen Neptune around. Definitely a solid player. I think one of the lower ones on the team. But yeah, this team overall is going to be one of the best teams. I'm fairly confident of it. Um, one of the few supports that I do recognize. I know Ayoko is very good at support, and so there's a couple players I don't recognize, but being the Emerald players, I think overall this team is going to be very good.
Yeah, so interesting note. There's only two solo queue warrior players in the entire Sentinel League. Both of them are in Sector 1. One is actually on the Rivals roster, Salison. The other one is Nike Dragon. So I expect big things coming out of Nike. A solid roster. Once again, a lot of variety of champions. I'm curious to see how their identity develops, but I expect Nike Dragon to be a big part of that.
For sure. The one and only.
Yep. Roar. Long time org, dating back to when Amateur first came around. They're as old as me. I used to compete with them. Doki's always a character. Feathers in the top lane, formerly Feathers in Fur. The Moisting in jungle. Gold Shocks in mid. Macho 1 in ADC. And Adrian Legitness for support. Solid roster top to bottom.
Yeah, this is
Uh,
not to say it's every time because I've only played in a few different leagues, but RAR, a few times that I've seen them are in the bottom half of the teams. Um, as we were going through this stuff, I was like, wait, this team looks super stacked. Oh, wait, it's RAR's team. So this, I mean that in a nice way. As far as I think RAR is going to be one of the better top 5 teams. Their roster looks very good. I recognize Feathers and Goldshock's at least. Both of them very solid players. So this one will be interesting. And for those in the chat, of course, Doki himself, I believe, is on as a sub on the roster. So we'll
Sub.
see if he
Yep.
he
He's
makes
their coach,
an
dude.
appearance.
He's the one that runs drafts. You've never played League of Legends unless you listen to a Doki draft. It's a wild experience. Highly recommend. Uh, Players of note: Feathers and Fur, solid rock in the top lane. He knows his champions, which is Orin, Urgot, and Alawi. Those last two there was a I was digging to find them. Just kidding. Feathers is really good at just playing his role, being kind of like the top lane island. So excited to see how the rest of the map can perform with it. And then Stink Pickle, if you're the new mid, I'm just going off the roster sheet. So if it hasn't been updated, go yell at Doki. Do we want to shout out some follows and then take a quick break and we'll finish out the rest of the teams?
I was thinking we only have like 2 more teams left.
We have 2 teams. Okay.
Something like
Let's
that.
speed run
It's like
them
12 seconds
because I
left.
know. Yeah,
Uh,
we don't want to get the we don't want the.
we're good. We got 5 minutes. So
Yeah. Okay.
there's either 1 or 2 more teams.
TD Blessed. Okay. Complex in the top lane. Jungle is Toxin. Mid is Riven. Bot lane is One Hand. Barbaric champion once again in support. Really cool name. And then a bunch of e-girls. Eagle champions. So it
Fresh.
just makes
Come
me
on.
laugh. It makes me laugh. I don't know. It's just funny to me. But
Sometimes your
uh,
team bullies you onto playing enchanters. That's
yeah.
unfortunate.
And sometimes you play chanters and deserve to be bullied. Anyways,
Okay.
TD Blessed. Toxin's been around forever. I don't know if he's still living in Korea, but that was always interesting trying to schedule games with him with a massive time zone difference. Maybe he's back, maybe he's not. Um, a roster that on paper isn't the strongest in terms of ranks, but TD always puts out good teams. So I'm curious to see how well they do.
Yeah, TD's one of the teams that I first remember, and I think CE another one, like my very first competitive split playing in BOL. So I assume they have a good formula going on over there, regardless of their ranks being kind of middle of the pack, but some decent champs. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be really really fun. Riven probably has one of the most unique champ pools, so we'll have to see how he does in mid. No standing for. Oh, I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know. No Veracity is up next. UB Awesome in the top lane. Tyler 3501 jungle. Limestone in mid. New Origin. Okay. Bot lane is Pradles. Praddles. I think it's Pradles. And then support Scarlet. One of the more solid roster teams in terms of like overall ranked. Kind of upper middle of the pack. Awesome has a crazy champ pool. An awesome champ pool, if you will, in the top lane. So I'm excited to see how he goes against the rest of the top laners here in LXC Sentinel.
Yeah.
Uh,
I do believe there's going to be a jungle change. I think it happened today, just a few hours ago. So I think they're going to
oh,
change jungle. So we'll see. I don't know the actual rank change, losing your highest ranked player, but okay,
just
for
week 1.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. But yeah, we did scrim this team. Definitely a solid opponent. I feel like it was 1-2 or 2-1. So either way, good opponent. And league and scrims. I think it's the only team that we've scrimmed in the league, but I didn't know it beforehand.
Yeah. So one quick note for Veracity. I'm excited to see how Limestone does. This guy's champ pool. When your top 2 played in mid or Kog'Maw and Kled, one of your other ones is Malphite. He's definitely like a really strong laner. Really knows the weaknesses of the enemy champions. So I'm excited to see how his unique champ pool kind of transfers to comp. I don't know if you saw that at all during scrims. I wasn't there, but definitely a key cog for Veracity there.
True. Yeah, I think they'll be a solid team. I think that's the last one on the list. So, yeah. So, what we want to do, we're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to get into actual player rankings. So, all the players, or sorry, role specific player rankings.
Yep. So we will be right back after quick break. Welcome back, everybody, to Rivals Rundown of Sentinel for LXC, Sentinel League. We're going to be doing some player rankings, requests from local Neko Life, I think is how you say it. We're not going to start with top lane, CB.
Maybe. I'll surprise everybody.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be a
Yeah.
random one, but uh, just for the purposes of the player rankings, we kind of have our own way of um, I don't know how do you even say this? Scouting out talent, so to speak. We have our little formulas and stuff, so it's mostly based on that. And then if there was any like toss-ups, we kind of went on a variety of factors, such as like champ pool, who they're playing with, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
if you find yourself lower in the list, that just should be fuel to prove us wrong. And if you find yourself in the higher of the list, you might be overrated. So make sure you don't screw up.
Yeah. It being preseason, just take everything with a grain of salt since we haven't really seen anything. But yeah, let's just hop into it.
Looks like we're starting with the bottom lane. Um, CB started us off because I don't remember who's at number 14.
Number 14 is going to be Stoic. So
Okay,
top 14.
top 14. Yep, top 15 even. So what we were talking about a little bit before BLM. I don't expect their bot laner duo to be the best in the league. Could be proven long, obviously. Um, Kind of curious about Stoic right now. His top two champs are actually Swain Samira, so not really anything you see played very much in comp. But definitely fun champs to watch if he ends up actually bringing those into the competitive scene. Um, but that combined with maybe some concerns with the support as well, ultimately is how you have Stoic here at the bottom. But the best thing about being at the bottom is you can only go up, baby.
True. It's only up from here.
Yeah. At number 13 is DP Rico. Similar to Stoic, not expected to be the best bot laner. Chilling in bronze one right now. Don't expect him to be there for long though, because he is winning a large amount of his games. But for a player that's only peaked, I think, gold or silver, gonna find yourself kind of naturally in the bottom of these lists. Good variety of champs though so far this season. So
Yeah, I think definitely
CB.
a similar boat to Stoic and probably the next one or two people also. Just lower rank compared to some of the other people in the league. And this is just kind of where you have to start since we don't have a ton to go off of. More playing and the more better champ pool with this new season, and players can climb. But there is some good competition at least for the 80 carry role. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah. Speaking of competition, at number 12, we have, drum roll please, Ventrapy, which I believe is OSG. Uh, nope. Sub-Zero. 50-50 shot. Got it wrong. Yep. Similar to Rico and Stoic. Just kind of a combination of, low rank and then maybe not so high expectations for the duo. Ventrapy is there. However, pretty solid roster around Ventrapy, so I would expect to maybe see some movement from him, but we will have to see as time goes on because we really don't have a ton to go off of.
Yeah, I mean this one, like we mentioned earlier, this team has another roster in the same division, so they can ping pong off of each other. So I can see Venture climbing this list.
Locking in number 11 is one hand because it's really hard to play AD carry with one hand. I'm just kidding. I think similarly, it's more so the maybe low expectations for TD Blessed. That being said, TD, like I said before, TD always puts out good teams, so would expect one hand to potentially rise, but there's so many for one, there's a ton of 80 carries. There's 14 on the list, so you got to land somewhere. But there's so many good 80 carries in this league that it's hard to justify putting one hand above some of the others that you'll see here shortly.
Yeah, I think this is where it starts to get.
Yeah,
I don't know, it
it's
starts to get
tough. It's
starts to get
it's
tough because
it's
it's like this team's good, so they're gonna pull some pressure away from one hand. Also has a
yeah.
good support if Barbaric can get enough games in to actually play. Um,
hmm
so I could see one hand climbing if they figure out the support situation. But yeah, this is where it's getting to get tough.
hmm Yeah, as we move to the middle, it really wasn't much separating these ADCs, so it was kind of just, I mean, it's kind of just like an eye test, and maybe I guess you, if you want to call it bias, you could say that about maybe where these teams are gonna land. So, um, Cradles is top 10, so that is good.
Top 10 is a good place to start.
10 is a good place to start. I expect this team to be top half of the league overall, so I wouldn't be surprised if Cradles ends up climbing here. Um, I'm just more so concerned with how the champion pool of Praetors plus Scarlet goes against the rest of the league. Because Scarlet, looking at the pool, isn't known for a lot of base eating supports or peeling supports, which it can get a little bit dicey, especially with how Snowball League is right now. I think that's kind of why I ended up putting Praetors at number 10.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Solid player, just a lot of good 80 carries. So we'll see how they progress through the split. Moving on to number 9.
Number 9, Xerxes, uh, which is actually Avalanche this time.
True, got it this time.
I know, I think Billy Butthole ends up like top 6 or top 5 for support. So it's interesting that Xerxes is down here. But once again, there's a lot of good ADCs in this league. Um, the only thing I have for him is that he hasn't really. I mean, he peaked last split in plat. Um, but looking at the OP, looking at what's on paper, it's not overly impressive. Um, but he gets a little bit of a boost because of who he's landing with. So this is kind of like this middle area is like the gray area, pretty much between picks 10 through 6. So maybe he's a little bit overrated, or maybe he's a little bit underrated. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, this one might be
but
tough because their roster does have lower ranked top and mid, like solo lanes, so there might be more pressure coming from the other team onto Xerxes. So that's maybe why we
mhm.
have it a little low. We'll see how that plays out.
Number 8, rounding out the bottom half of the bottom lane is Kakino. Um, Kakino is a player where I don't expect the bot lane of OTL Obsidian to have to do much. But I think they're going to be better than most of the bot lanes they go against. I just don't think it's going to really look like it or stand out, if that makes sense. I don't think Kakino or Lunar Paw are going to be expected to do a ton to win OTL Obsidian games. But I think they're going to be a solid presence, which is kind of why they're kind of smack in the middle here with Kokino's ranking.
True. Yeah, I agree. I think their bot lane is going to be solid. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of the rest of the team. Granted, they do have a starting player missing a lot of ranked games, so we'll see if that impacts all the players and their rankings, how they stack up.
Our boy Aspect is on there on the sub role, so I would expect that Aspect to probably start for top. We'll see though.
True.
Number 7, Ferdy. Definitely player that I could see top 3 by season's end, depending on how their season goes. The only thing that's holding them back is, gonna be honest, just what's on paper. But I do expect Ferdy and Triumphant to have a really good split. So, expect Ferdy to rise or fall. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the ones where it's like, okay, we kind of know this 80 carry is probably going to rise in the rankings, but since it is preseason and to keep it fair across the boards for the players that we don't really know or recognize. A lot of it's the on paper stuff, but as we go through the season, we'll have more information to actually put people in places and piss everybody off.
Yeah, I expect that the preseason player rankings will be like, we'll call it 30% correct. I think we'll get probably most of the top picks right, but the middle is going to be where we struggle probably the most. So
Yeah, which makes it fun. Makes it fun for everybody
yeah,
because they get to see how they progress every week or fall.
that's not fun,
Oh,
but hopefully that doesn't happen.
oh
uh,
no.
yeah, moving on to number 6, BKs. I wanted to put him at 14, but uh, our ranking system wouldn't let me. Um, BK is primarily a top lane player. Has good macro knowledge. Not quite there as a marksman yet, but we're working on him. So don't expect BKs to be a 6 for long. He could be as far as 14, but who knows? Once he
Or
puts it
number
together, it could
one.
be top 3. Yeah, number 1 even.
Yeah, so this one, yeah, question mark, as it's still the learning curve phase going on, but we'll see for Mr. BK's himself.
Number 5, top 5, top 5, top 5. Iron Sniper.
One of the few rostered players, at least as of a few hours ago, on CE's roster. So at least we picked
So
one with all 14 people.
you might be thinking there are players that are maybe better than Iron Sniper. Why is he listed in the top 5? We're going off of our way of determining how good a player really is. Now the the thing with Iron Sniper is we don't know who the support's gonna be. So they could get in a game and he's never played with the support and he could put up a stinker and maybe he falls. But looking at the champ pool and the consistent high placement and flex, which is kind of a measurement for me of how good a team or a teammate one is in comp, is how Iron Sniper ends up at number 5.
Yeah, we'll see with once they actually finish out their roster. Top 4. Chrome Alone from TFF. Going to be, I think we just eye test already agree that it's going to be one of the best teams. So naturally, the 80 carry on the team's going to be up there. I don't know if I've seen Chrome Alone actually play. I don't know if you have.
Not a player from TFF I'm familiar with. So
Okay, so I know they have other solid players that's going to impact the game, maybe take some pressure off of Chrome Alone. So I think that opens a lot of opportunities for this player to stay in our top half for sure.
I don't expect Chromalone's laning phase to be the best in the league, but I think their presence is going to be felt in team fights. Looking at their champ pool, like a lot of Jinx, Ashe, Sivir, a lot of these carries that do well, from the mid game on. Which looking at TFF, I think that's perfect for them. So we'll have to see if the number 4 ranking stands. It could potentially fall just because they're not being asked to do a whole lot.
Randy Savage.
Yep. Macho 1. So this could come and bite us in the butt. But we talked a little bit about feathers in the preview for Roar. Solid top lane rock, but definitely relies on mid and ADC to do a lot of the heavy lifting in team fights. He's not going to be a player that picks top lane carries. So that means the carry has to come from somewhere. And if we expect Roar to be as good as we think they will be, that means Macho and I guess Stink Pickle is the actual mid laner now are going to have to do some of that lifting for them. So if they're able to perform well, then Macho's going to deserve this ranking. If they're not, then expect a quick fall. I never know with Roar. I don't know if they're ever gonna they're gonna be a solid playoff team or if they're just for funning it. You can never tell.
True. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one where it's definitely like bold prediction. Oh, and we're right. Oh, or we're just completely wrong. So a lot of volatility for Macho, but congrats on making the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Who's left?
Who left indeed? Key. Okay, so Key is like the, I wouldn't say the lone bright spot of almost, yeah, Blacktip. But definitely gonna be tasked to do a lot for this team. The tools are there. Um, the on paper is there, which is why he's so high. Do I expect him to stay in the top 2? Mm,
It'll
probably
be
not,
it'll
but we'll
be
see.
it'll be interesting because you have to take into consideration is the overall team, how's their record, whatnot gonna go. Like you said, Key on paper one of the best players on the team, which could be good or bad as far as your actual individual ranking goes, because you might
Mm-hmm.
be the sole focus from the other team. But for now, on paper, is what we kind of went with. So congrats on getting the number 2 spot.
Nike Dragon, they're at number 1. Uh, so Plasma Wolves has an interesting roster in that I don't expect one side or like one lane or one player in particular to dominate games, but Nike Dragon, like we talked about, is one of the 2 solo queue warriors that are starting in this league. And so I think in terms of most consistent and like most consistent excellence for Plasma Wolves, I expect it to be Nike. I can see New News in Paris running it down a few games. I can see Silent Assassin potentially, you know, not having the greatest games, or maybe even Neptune. But I expect Nike Dragon to do well even in games that might be lost by this Plasma Wolves team. Um, Definitely seems like they're the most consistent put together bot laner of the 14 listed. But who knows? I mean, we could just be totally wrong.
Yeah, no, not too much to go off of. I'd probably say out of all the 80 carries, I'd probably feel the most confident that Nike's gonna stay top 5 the whole season. Um, I don't probably even top 3 or 4, but I mean we'll see. But got the number 1 spot today, like you said, most consistent looking 80 carry that we've seen.
So take a screenshot if you're mad. Use it as, put it on your mirror. Use it as fuel as you get throughout, go throughout your day. But that is our bold predictions for where everybody stands. I would say the power rankings are where everyone stands as of right now, like right this instant. I wouldn't say this is indicative of where we think they'll end up.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're doing it week by week. I guess yeah, this is something to note. We're not. This isn't the end of season projection necessarily.
All right. That is your ball laner power rankings. CB, you want to go ahead and shout some people out for following?
Absolutely.
This list is getting long, so
Yeah. I should be doing it as we go along, but
yeah.
that's okay. So much appreciated to LXC themselves, Big Rev on our roster, No Name X, Local Nico Life, Tyler Star, Resilient 09, Mundo Man, Stink Pickle 1234, Cradles Play,
Cradles. Mm-hmm.
Soul Keeper 0692, Star Burrito, and Red Sharky for the follows. It is very much appreciated. Sorry I didn't get to it as it popped up, but at least you got to see your name on the screen. It's cool.
That is cool indeed.
I have a snooze available. We have like 13 minutes, so I think we can make another one.
Yeah, we could do one more, and then we'll take
What's
a
gonna
quick
be?
break.
What's gonna be?
As long as it's not bottom again, we'll be okay.
True.
Oh, no name calling it. It is
Oh,
Jungles.
yeah. Right on time.
Let's start us off. Who's at number 14?
Number 14 is going to be Toxin from
Okay.
TD. You explain it.
So, I don't think Toxin is gonna end up number 14, but I will say on paper doesn't really stand out to me as much as some of these other junglers. And he lives in freaking Korea, so there's been
Whoa.
I know for a fact that there's been issues with Toxin living in Korea and being so far away. I know he tries his best to make games, but um, there's always something going on. So we'll have to see if he's able to even play all the games. Um, I'm a little bit concerned, uh, but he's managed to do it for multiple years now. So who knows? He'll probably make me eat my words, but I've talked to the guy. I think he's a really cool dude. Um, just playing for Korea and probably one of, if not the most important roles, just is alarm bells for me. Any
Sorry.
other things to add there, CB?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, it's just one of those where as we go through like 14 through 11, there's no right answers because it's always gonna ruffle some feathers, but we're just having some fun, and like you said, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they progress through the season with Toxin. If they get to play all the games, it sounds like this player's gonna climb up the rankings, but we'll see.
Number 13. Unlucky 13 or lucky is Kama from Braum Lives Matter. I think Kama is just it's a combination of that on paper stuff once again. Definitely a player that I think can rise in the ranks for sure. I just don't know if Braum Lives Matter is gonna have a great split, to be 100% completely honest. That coupled with the fact that I don't expect their bot lane to do very much heavy lifting for them.
That's why it's gonna be on the jungle. Just make jungle diff.
Yeah. When a team does bad, it's really hard not to blame the jungle. So I don't know. Kama might just be unlucky. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Not 14th, but a lot of room to climb up the rankings.
Yeah, room for improvement. That's what we like to call it. I'm Stealthy, coming in at number 12. The other player for Kaninja Esports that we were able to take a look at. Really good pool. Really, solid competitive pool. It's just the rank's not quite there compared to a lot of these jungles, and I don't know how I'm supposed to, we're supposed to really take a good consideration how good a jungler is supposed to be when we don't know 3/5 of the team, or at the time we made these rankings. So
yeah, there's the big question mark.
yeah,
Not knowing the rest of the team on how this jungler is even going to have to play, regardless of having a good champ pool. So this one's just kind of a question mark. I guess all the CE ones are a question mark until next week.
yeah. Well, none of the other CE players are listed, so they're all 14. So if you're playing top, middle, or support, you can rest assured that you're not number 14 right now. So that's good. Infiltrate for HP Blacktip. Infiltrate just moved to jungle with Red Sharky going mid. Mid laners typically do pretty decent in jungle, and he's been playing jungle for quite a while. Picking an Emerald, Infiltrate's definitely a player that if Blacktip surprises a lot of people, they're going to be one of the reasons why. And so definitely high potential for moving up these rankings. Just couldn't justify putting them higher than some of these other junglers.
Yeah, just one of the ones that's kind of volatile. We don't really know. Swapping right before a split starts is always just kind of a question mark, I guess. Obviously, the player has experience playing in jungle, so this one will be a definite mover for next week, I think.
Top 10 coming up. Who's it gonna be? It is No Name. No Name. I think has a really good top side and then a questionable bot side. And then they're playing in the hardest division sorry, not the hardest division. So definitely a chance to move up, but I don't know. Sentinel's pretty stocked this year.
Yeah,
So
it really is. I guess regardless of which sector or division you're in, since it's all going to come together eventually, top 10's good. A lot of room to climb, but this is again one of the teams where you have another team in the division. So I can see both OSG players peaking above the top 10 for sure, but we'll see with just how many good players there are in Sentinel this split.
number 9. The Moisting from Roar. So look at the Roar squad. There's a reason why I think Stink Pickle and Macho are gonna have to do a lot of lifting. Feathers, like I said, rock in the top lane, and then you have a Rek'Sai one trick. Not Rexic. At jungle, I'm always concerned about one tricks in comp. By one trick, I mean they're really not a one trick, but that's by far the
most
majority of
played.
the games.
Yeah.
Is Rek'Sai. So
I mean, free ban, I guess.
yeah, you're
Probably.
getting a free ban for your team probably. After that, you got Fiddlesticks that's up there, Sejuani, Kane, Mord. So a little bit concerning with the champ pool. I don't expect Doki to. Well, actually, what can you expect from Doki? I expect Doki to kind of like maybe put him on a leash and make him play some boring champs, but um, one of the concerns for that Raw roster is the moisting. Other than that, like on paper, looks really good. Just the champ pool diff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Playing with one-ish trick players, you probably pull that ban. You get used to not playing that champ, and it could help your team since the ban portion of it. You have other players that can play. They're most played champions, so you're just taking one for the team.
Yeah, if Doki's a real coach, he's gonna make his jungler play Ignite Smite or TP Smite every game, but we'll see. OSG Novocaine. So OSG, it's tough. I think Novocaine benefits from being on a better roster than No Name. But like you were saying, having a sister team makes it really easy for like internal scrims. If there's specific things you want to work on or like seek help for, or whatever it may be, being able to have that resource there, bounce ideas off each other. I expect that if one OSG roster is doing well, the other one probably is as well. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. I peg both these teams as middle of the pack, so we'll have to see. Pause.
Yeah, and I get to do a little internal competition. I guess I get to do that regardless, just for the team rankings. But for our power rankings, they can do the same. We'll see.
Right now, Novocaine has bragging rights.
Yeah, it's 1 week of bragging rights.
That rounds out the bottom half of jungle. Looking at the top half, Big Rev, our man in the jungle.
Big Parm? I mean, Big Worm?
I think it's just on paper, without divulging too much information. Big Rev's going to be a really important piece of what we're doing here at Rivals. The champ pool's there. I know he's working alongside a jungling coach. Like, he's serious about getting better. So I definitely think he's going to end up closer to the top half of these rankings towards the end of the season. But we had to put him somewhere, and he ended up just on the top half at number 7.
Jeez, bias alert much? Jeez. No.
Yeah, dude, biased.
No. Yeah, the on paper ranking champ pool is why he landed at 7. And we will see. Well, I guess I need to tell everybody on the roster that if they drop below, top. Wait, where am I at? Top 10, then then they have to go move to sub, and Husky gets in to the starting spot, regardless of which role. So, Husky, I hope you're ready.
No, but yeah, I think Big Revs could probably end up climbing if we do well. If we don't, then everyone's gonna fall. So we're all
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
we're all on the same boat.
High expectations for Rev. So
We should have done a coaching tier list. That would have been fun.
next time.
DP useful int is number 6. So this came down to the way we do our rankings. I think this player might be listed a little too high, just because they're playing off-roll. They're typically a top laner, but we will have to see. It's really coming down from. It's really coming up from, previous rankings. I expect this player to be the most macro sound for DP. It's just a matter of can they put it together. We'll see. I could see useful int being a little bit lower here next week, but
if they get their games in, I think this is one of the players that needs some ranked games. So if anybody on your team's paying attention, I think you still have some more to go.
We will have to see.
Top 5.
Also, go ahead. Go top 5.
Top 5.
Tyler
Top 5.
3501. Yes.
Which this is who's not playing week 1, I think, if I recall. So had a good showing in our scrim. I guess they're kind of at a disadvantage if they're at least going to miss a week, so they'll probably drop just by default. But the team overall seems pretty solid.
I think if Tyler 3501 and Limestone really put it together in terms of like that mid jungle synergy, you can expect them probably top 5, 4, 3, 2, maybe even 1. I think they're gonna have to feed off of each other and do a lot for the team. Not saying that anybody else on that Veracity roster is bad. I'm just saying I think Limestone and Tyler have the potential with Limestone's unique champ pool to really run some games. So we'll see.
Or it can go in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And they fall.
Either run games or run it down in some games. Number 4. Islamic Samurai. Player that could be a little bit too high, just because on paper they don't actually play the role, but this comes down to a little bit bias. I know Islamic Samurai from previous splits, I think he's one of the better players you're going to see in Sentinel, benefiting from TFF. Do I think their ceiling is much higher? Maybe. But I don't expect them to drop very much, benefiting from what most people expect to be a top team. So
yeah, I think Samurai, I feel fairly confident in Samurai is going to stay top 5, 6 worst case is my prediction. Solid player on a solid team, so that's going to be tough to fall down the rankings. We'll see if they live up to the top 4 hype.
Now we're in the top 3. Who's bringing in bronze? It is any Koi no Yokon. I think NE is going to be a really solid roster. I don't know if they're going to be, one of the top 3, 4. But I do know that Koi is going to benefit from a very, very solid bot lane, which, when in doubt, you can always play for stacking drags if that's the case. I know Diet Coke has a pretty volatile top lane pool. So we'll have to see. Koi is one of those players that if their team does well, definitely going to be a big part of. But if their team struggles, they might shoulder more blame than they should. So we'll have to see how, Choppas actually end up doing throughout the split.
Yeah, I think this is another player that I think is going to stay in the top half for sure. Pretty sure this is the player that hit Diamond and Flex, so I have high expectations for them. Also plays Karthus, so obviously you have to be in the top 5. But yeah, it looks like no pressure. If they want to go ahead and not show up tomorrow, it's perfectly fine with me. But yeah, good, congrats on top 3.
Number 2. OTLO? Nope. I was wrong. It's our
Spoilers.
boy, the New News in Paris. Really solid roster, top to bottom, and that includes New News. We love a good new player.
Do they play Nunu is
One
a question.
thing they do. They do play Nunu.
Checks out.
One thing to note is they actually play like a lot of AP junglers, which could be bad depending on how the team approaches things.
Or you could hard carry.
Yeah, or you could hard carry. Either way, I think the highs are going to be very high for Nunu. The lows might actually be really low. Just looking at like top 3, for example, is Gwen, Lilia, Nunu. Those champions, if they get ahead early or if they're stable early, can really scale up and do work. But man, if they get behind, they get behind. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's one of those just high ceiling, potentially low floor, but we'll see. We're going off high ceiling, so we're gonna run with that one.
High ceilings, the highest, number 1, left on the board, OTLO, the man himself, Latex Monkey Nuts. Crazy name, by the way. Really good top to bottom roster. Chilling in Emerald 4 right now. Really good shampoo. Definitely a player that I don't ever expect to go below bottom or top 5 unless the whole team bottoms out. But on paper, the team around him, everything screams that Latex Monkey Nuts is gonna have a good split.
Yeah, definitely gonna stay in the top half as well. There's a few of them that I think are gonna stay in the top half, so it's gonna be interesting to see who actually falls. But I think Monkey's gonna stay up there, solid team overall, so that always helps, especially for just player rankings in general. One thing to note, their top laner is missing a bunch of games, so that top jungle might come into question weeks 1 and 2. We'll kind of see how that goes, but
they got aspect though. We'll see.
True.
Wait, Twitch is telling us we only got 30 seconds to ads. If you don't want to listen to ads, go ahead, hit us with the Prime, hit us with the sub. We're gonna try to do some stuff for subscribers. I don't know what yet. If you guys have ideas, let us know. But other than that, we're gonna throw it to a quick break, and we'll be back
with one of the other 3 roles. We'll see who comes next.
Yep. We'll see who comes next.
We'll be back.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rivals Sentinel League preseason preview. We've done bot lane and we've done jungle. Next up on the list is the mid lane, as requested. Number 14. What do we got, CB? In a timely manner. I think it's. If we want the name, it is Millie Bobby Brown. CB, you're muted.
Awesome. That's okay. Nothing important. Missed nothing other than
CB just went off.
no. Whoa.
Talked about
I blame
how
their.
bad contingent. No, I'm just kidding. They just
blaming-
didn't have a player.
Yeah,
They just
blaming
have
them
a player.
for not being on top of their stuff and getting it ironed out. But that's okay.
Millie Bobby Brown, CB, please unmute yourself in a timely manner.
Whoa.
Bressinger 35 of OSG
50-50.
A fame. Low rank basically is why she ends up here. But they have a really good jungle, which could
Offset.
offset some weaknesses. We'll have to see though, because the mid lane pool is very strong in LXC Sentinel. Could be a weak link for Avalanche.
Yeah. Then again, you could just pick a bunch of hard scaling mid and hopefully your team survives until you're a champion. So we'll see. Just one of the lower ranked mids in Sentinel.
Number 12, who do we got, CB?
Red Sharky did just roll swap for HP Blacktip. Don't kill us in the chat for being 12. That's just because you just swapped, and we'll see what that actually means for your team. I also do think their ranks a little bit lower than a lot of the mid laners.
Mm-hmm.
So that also played into it. We'll see if how the swap helps, and I would think that Red Sharky goes up the rankings, but we'll see how we go.
My number one concern for Red Sharky is I think Infiltrate swapped to jungle because they expect to be one of the stronger players of the roster. The top two mid lane picks for Red Sharky so far have been Galio and Seraphine, which if you're trying to make your mid laner support, could be a little scary. Do I think that will stand for the rest of the split? No. Maybe it's just because they're easing into the role. But is maybe a little bit cause for concern, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, just need some time to scale.
They're scaling. Number 11, check your minimap. Like I said before, I think it might be an upgrade from the original mid laner, despite a lower individual ranking. Or, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're bronze right now, but they've peaked plat.
Which is a little concerning.
It is a little concerning that they are bronze.
Because last split they were also silver, so I don't know. But they are playing a couple different roles in ranked. That could play into it. But yeah, just one of the lower individual ranked players being that bronze and silver elo.
We did have DP's jungle in the top half. So once again, kind of like with Bressinger, could mask some weaknesses, but really strong mid presence here in Sentinel. Soul Ram. So Soul Ram is a player that's on a very good team. But their individual ranking doesn't scream elite, so to speak. Most of the champions that they perform well on are those scaling mages. You know, kind of sit back, let your team kind of do the heavy lifting for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then really come alive in team fights. and there's some really strong laning mids in Sentinel, so it could be harder to get away with. But I think they're gonna be just fine for what NLE needs to play through their bot lane. It's just a matter of can they do it effectively. That's why we have the preseason rankings.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be the individual. This is more of the individual, I guess.
Mhm.
Not necessarily just laning phase, but compared to the other mid laners. Whereas, yeah, like you said, if they're gonna play scaling and that's all their team needs, they might actually have more impact late game team fight stuff compared to other mid laners. It's just tough
Mhm.
to actually rank them higher, since it's individual mid versus mid.
Slotting in at number 9. Who we got? Corrupt. Oh boy. Mr. Corrupt of OTL Obsidian. The chat has already voiced a couple concerns regarding this player. The most controversial player in the league, according to Local Neko Life. So,
Whoa.
my
Batman.
opinion of Corrupt on this roster, I think OTL maybe top 5 in the league. If they finish top 5, it's because Corrupt has had some of their issues kept in check that maybe some of these players have encountered in the past. This is where I'm going to make a bold prediction. My bold prediction for Sentinel regarding OTL is that Corrupt is not on the roster by the end of the split.
Sheesh.
But we'll have to see.
Man, you causing drama, man.
I'm causing. Hey, this is content.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I've at least messaged the player before and whatnot, seen him in scrims and stuff. Heard a little bit of the background tea, but okay, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So we'll keep track of that on the back burner. Regardless of that, drama or no drama, a solid player in the mid
Solid
lane
player.
for sure.
I just there's some major concerns with this player. I think if OTL is to reach their full potential, either Corrupts turn something around or he's not going to be on the roster. He could be a hindrance for the team. We'll see.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah, that's without going into specifics.
That was Righteous talking.
Yeah,
Don't make me.
it was Righteous. Yeah. If you're gonna ask somebody, you can have me. But that's just nothing against the guy. There's some concerns. TD blessed. We got Riven in the mid lane.
Did they pull out the Riven mid lane? Is that gonna
Don't
happen?
play it.
Oh.
I think it's just a cool name for them.
Oh.
A roster that on paper isn't the strongest looking. But that being said, Riven does look like one of the strongest on the roster. So when you have a roster like that, could be that they stand out more than most. I expect this player to be pretty consistent across all their games. Solid comp champ pool. Just not a lot of high expectations for Blessing.
Yeah, I'd agree. Almost peaked the top half, and yeah, I'd agree. One of the better players on their roster. Hopefully, not too much weight is on them to carry from that mid lane spot.
Yeah,
we cracked the top.
Chat
7.
thinks we're wrong. So this is good.
Okay.
Keep the receipts, because we will admit to being wrong. Dude, the mid lane pool for Sentinel this split, it looks strong. So if there's something about Riven that I'm missing, we'll see come next week.
Yeah, it's part of the fun. It's part of the fun. If we got everybody correct, then it would just be like, here's a sheet of paper. Have a good night.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There's a little bit of quote unquote scientific basis for these rankings, but really the middle of the mid lane. I think mid lane was the most contested outside of the top 4. I think 5 through 10 was a toss up in my opinion, and so I leaned more towards what they had going on around them as opposed to actual individuals. So there's always a chance that these rosters overperform, in my and CB and Rivals' opinion. Mundo Man coming in for Sub-Zero. Paired up with No Name. I think OSG's gonna have OSGS is gonna have a strong top side of the map. It's just a matter of can the top side do enough? Because looking at the the styles of both Mundo Man and the bot lane, they like to scale. And right now, as League of Legends sits right now, it is not a scaling meta, and that concerns me.
True. I think if we were in like a couple patches ago, I think Mundo is definitely higher. And one of the more solid looking players on this roster. So we will see if they stay top 7.
Number 6. Also, update. Soulkeeper said they actually did play Riven in the championship and almost 1v9'd. So
Okay.
there you go. Number 6 is Gold Shocks, which much to our dismay, and I knew this was going to happen. There's going to be roster changes. Gold Shocks is not starting mid for Roar.
I assume still
talk a
going to be on the
little-
roster as a sub. I don't know. Who knows? We'll
I
probably
don't
get
know,
that answer in the chat. But
Further update. Yeah, they're on listed as a sub. Stink Pickle, who has taken the mid lane position for Roar, also plays Kled mid, which means there are 2 Kled mid players in Sentinel at one time.
that's suspicious.
What a life we are living.
So maybe they end up, we can just cross the name. We can put them in the same spot. Keep them at 6. Look like they're similar rank.
No, it's not. No. The other one's Veracity mid.
You're a liar.
So there's 2 mid lane players that play Kled, just not on Roar. One's on Veracity.
Okay.
Whatever, however you say it.
Nonetheless,
Anyways,
top 6. I think even if we slot in Pickle, probably very similar spot. It looks just a quick glance. So
maybe not as high of a high for the rankings, but we'll see. I think so. Veracity, Roar, if you're listening to me right now, one of the games you have to do is blind, and both mid laners have to play Kled. Kled v Kled. Let's see it. That's my wish for you all.
maybe we'll see.
Drakenrich coming off of a Arbiter experience at ADC, filling in top 5 for their roles here in Sentinel for mid.
Yeah. This one, I feel like this player's gonna fall, just because their team overall, on paper, looks lower than most of the rest. So, if teams just play, or not because this player is bad, I do think this player is gonna just individually probably top half, but because of how it's gonna shake out, this player is gonna have to hold a decent amount of weight. So. I don't know. We'll see. Top 5 for now, so that's good.
I'm at you with my second pulled prediction of the mid laners. I think Drakenrich will role swap at least one game to jungle, because I think they peak higher as a jungler than they do a mid laner.
Play a lot of jungle.
So
that's depending on
maybe not so bold. Maybe
players.
mild take. Drakenrich is gonna move to jungle at some point for who knows how long. Maybe just one game. But that's my mild take. Number 4.
Zach.
Efron. Yeah, Zach. Efron, I think I've talked to him a couple times since being in the scene. Really smart guy. Doesn't have the highest peaks as some of the other mid laners, which is why he's not in the top 3. Definitely championship quality caliber mid, especially when paired with Islamic Samurai, that mid jungle mid duo. No qualms with this player. I just don't think the peak is quite there compared to our top 3.
Also, this player has a lot of champs they can play. I think that goes a long way. Granted, a lot of them are 80 carries. We'll see if they get spicy with it and play some 80 carries mid. I feel like we're in the opposite meta right now. You're playing mid laner spot. But maybe that opens up a lot of flex options and whatnot. So, yeah, not the highest peak, but I feel confident saying they're definitely top half player on a solid team. And since it's mid lane, 4th is where you land.
Into the top 3. Who's bringing home bronze? For at least the preseason. It's Limestone, the other Kled mid lane player. I think Veracity has. This is a pivotal player for the roster. When Limestone performs, Veracity's gonna, absolutely smoke some of these teams. When Limestone doesn't, it's gonna be felt pretty hard. I expect Limestone to perform more often than he doesn't, which is why he's there at number 3. Uh,
True. We have our reasons of why we definitely agree. Limestone's gonna be top 3.
uh, uh, my only concern is with that unique style that he's bringing into comp. Maybe I don't know how long Veracity's been a roster. Maybe they're just used to it. There's always a cause of concern if those picks don't do well, in my opinion.
True. I think his player plays some. Oh, this is one you were mentioning earlier, right? Yeah, he plays top laners mid, or at least
Mhm.
plays top lane.
Well, he plays. So, of his top 5 from last split, Kog'Maw's number 1, I think, or 2. Kled's number 1 or 2. I could be wrong on the positioning there, but they're both top 2. And then number 4 is Malphite. So,
Yeah, might see some Malphite, might see some Kled, maybe some Kinnan or something. Yeah, so I got some. We'll see some spicy stuff, I think, from Limestone.
yeah. Top 2, number 2, Silent Assassin. Silent Assassin, interesting player. Like I said, Plasma Wolves, I think Nike Dragon's going to be the quote unquote high carry superstar of the roster. But Silent Assassin, really strong in their own right. Has a really good Zoe, which I don't know how familiar you guys are with good Zoe players, but disgusting when they get ahead. High skill champions all throughout the board. Expect really good laning, really good things, really good roster. So
Yeah,
there you go.
I think Assassin's gonna stay top 4 or 5. Seems like there's kind of a theme going on with Plasma's roster. That's why we think they're going to be one of the better teams. But Assassins, yeah,
Mhm.
Chample, like you said, definitely some champs on there that you just give them an inch and they're gonna take over the game. So we'll see if teams are able to shut that down or not. But easy number 2 selection there for Silent Assassin.
All right, CB, who's number 1? Who's left?
I think we probably just end it there. We can go to the next role. I think. I seen some bias, man. That's crazy.
Hey, you put
The
the rankings together with
the
me.
man himself, Salosin, formerly an AD carry player and formerly mid player. So swapping back to his main role, was my AD carry last split. One of the only solo queue warrior players in the league. That's why he's sitting at number 1. He also did slide me $20, so I do have to show him a number 1. But yeah, solid player. Definitely some spicy picks.
Yeah, if you're not happy with where you are in the rankings, Rivals is not above being bribed. No, just kidding. So coming from a coach's perspective, I
Without
expect a
leaking.
lot from Salo. And sometimes I get frustrated with him, and he knows a lot. But I definitely think the peak is number 1 in the league, potential MVP caliber.
No pressure.
So there's a reason why I'm so hard on him in practice and such.
Pause.
Uh, Pause. But I think he's deserving of number 1 right now. We'll see
All
if
he
it
has to
stands.
do is perform, and he can just stay number 1. So we'll see.
Yep.
He can do it. He can do it. But yeah, there is your mid lane preseason rankings. We'll see how it shakes up coming into next week. It's looking like we're gonna go to the most important role next per request.
The only role CB knows how to play
Whoa,
and talk
what
about.
the? Coming from the guy that peaked playing support.
Hey
Okay.
man, I never said it was not a good
Okay.
role. It's just the only role you know.
Okay, I mean, I only have a championship in mid, D1 athlete
Yeah.
mid laner, but that's not important. We don't have to get into that,
Yeah,
but it's not important. It's not important.
JV. Yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell? I got a jersey.
Anyways, number 14. Who do we
CB.
think it is, chat? Bold predictions.
Oh.
Ah, it's the one that wasn't there.
Yeah. Everybody, look at this guy. Look at C.
So interesting to note, for White's roster, support is the only one that doesn't have anybody listed still. So it will be a surprise to everyone come tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know if they posted, because you have to post your actual rosters you're going to play with. I don't know if they posted yet. I assume not. But maybe it's just not updated. Either way, they need to get on it.
Moving on to the real rankings, number 13. Brute Souls, 166. BLM, we've talked about it. We've hit the nail on the head repeatedly when it comes to this bot lane. Not very high expectations, but with low expectations comes low responsibility. So
True.
low responsibility means plenty of opportunity to impress with what we would be considering upsets if this bot lane does well. Once again, it's all on paper, so they could come out swinging and really just shut us up.
Yeah.
But that's what they're falling right now.
Yeah, everybody in the bottom 4 or 5. It's just on paper. Moving forward, you can get mad at us because it's going to be more subjective. But just on paper, yeah, one of the lower ranked supports in the league. You're not 14 though, so that's good.
True. Number 12, Dorsky. I think it's a mirror of the ADC rankings. I'm pretty sure we had. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we had Venture P at 12. I don't remember.
But similar. I think they're
Top half of
similar.
the map.
boats.
Yeah, top half of the map is where I think Sub-Zero is gonna find their most success. But that's not to say that Venture P and Dorsky won't play an important part. If either of the OSG rosters do well, I expect players to rapidly climb the power ranking ladder.
Yeah, I think Dorsky and Brute Souls are really similar boats. Both of their AD carries are silver, I believe, and then they have golden plat, the top half of the map. So room to climb up, and we'll see which one of those. Since on paper they look very similar-ish, we'll see which one ends up climbing higher.
Or falling.
Or
just kidding.
falling.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
true. Yeah, you could.
Slivik. I think it's Slivik. Kind of funny. So we had, I think, top 5 ranking for Blacktip's ADC, but then bottom 5 ranking for their support. I expect Blacktip's overall ranking to land in the middle between the two roles. I think if Slivik does enough, he can really do well. My issues lie with lack of proven success for in terms of like solo queue rank, but they seem like they perform well when they do play support. It's just that last split they had 67 games played on Evelyn, and I went back and looked. I was curious. I'm like, is this an Evelyn support player? It was not. So
that's not as fun.
There's not a lot to go off of on paper.
I think this player will balance out since we did have the 80 carry so high, and this is really just how players stack up against other players of the same role in the league, having not played any games in the league. So that's why they're so low, and their 80 carry is so high. In theory, they should be at a similar-ish rank, and that'll even out as we go through the season.
Top 10. Bringing in number 10.
I don't believe it.
Aoka. So, looking at the roster, every roster has its flaws. No, I'm just kidding. Aoka is not a flaw for this roster. It's just, it comes down to paper. My big concern, I always look at champ pools. Other than Tom Kench, a lot of enchanters in a non-enchanter meta, I would say right now. And then just overall rankings for solo queue rank, not as high as some of these other supports. So we'll have to see.
I think kind of a similar boat with Slivik. Their AD carry Nike Dragon was what, one or two? One probably, one or two.
Two, I
So
think.
I think it'll balance out where Aoka climbs up this list. It was just
I mean,
again,
they're on a really good roster, so
yeah, true. So I think it'll balance out. Just right now, rank versus rank of the other supports. It's where they fell.
yeah, yeah. Just the champ pool for being as fast-paced games as they are, over 100 games on Soraka, and then the next highest is Lulu. Really good champs. I think they're very, very good in comp. I'm just concerned about how they're gonna stack up early on.
True. Number 9, I'm gonna say what the hell. All right, well you're not getting paid this week.
Yeah.
Number 9, the man himself.
We went on paper, dude.
True, that's just too high.
Yeah. What can I say about CB that's nice? No, just kidding. I really like CB's shampoo, and he definitely helps me with draft prep and the like.
And that's it. Yeah, she's nice.
That's it. She's nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see
CB,
if
talk about yourself. Start your stuff. I had to
I
do
don't
this
know.
once.
I'm
way back in
playing
the day.
with an 80 carry. That's very good at 80 carry. So I'm sure I'll climb this list. No, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not the highest rank. I do have a feeling. I guess rank doesn't reset this year, right? So I might peak. We'll see. Get out of gold eventually. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. 9's fine. That's okay. Top 10.
Number 8, bringing in the top of the bottom half. Never knows best for DP. So I think Rico was bottom 3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Never knows best actually looks decent on paper. Rico right now considered a bronze player. Once again, champ pool is an issue. For me in my eyes. But looking in past ranks and past champ pool, they're definitely capable of playing some more of what I personally would like to see, and I think what the meta calls for. I'm concerned about the bot lane pairing, and I don't know how well DP is going to do. But one of the better supports in the league, right, kind of smack in the middle.
I'm going to be biased towards every support above me. I'm going to pass this person. No, but
You usually say that for everyone.
yeah, just everyone. No, yeah, their team
I like it,
overall
I
is
like-
lower ranked, so good.
You're just like, I hope you enjoy the number 8 ranking now, because next week I'm gonna be number 8.
True,
Just
true.
say that for every week.
True.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it looks like a decent champo, but yeah, like you said, a lower ranked support and mid and top on their team, so this one might be an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm. Being in the bottom of the top half at number 7. Oodle. Similar to Aoka, I think it's just a matter of low rank on a good team isn't it a bad place to be. The other thing being is not a lot of support games played for wait. Hold on. I clicked the wrong thing. Not a lot of tank support games played
True.
for Poodle.
Some AP and some enchanters mainly.
Mm-hmm. So it's not that I'm not gonna say like if you want to climb this ranking, start playing tanks. I just think as the meta stands right now, what the meta is calling for, this is like a snapshot of what we can expect early on in the season. Poodle could struggle, but they're on a very good team. Do I expect them to struggle or stay in the bottom half very long? No. Scarlet. Now, can anybody confirm, is this the Scarlet that also casts and does a wonderful job casting? Because there was Scarlet and JFK, so I'm assuming that it is. Okay, so it's not the same Scarlet. It is not. Once again, shampoo is an issue. Sona being the most played.
Well, Sona
right
is
along.
good right now. First off,
Dude, I'm not convinced.
if your
Seeing
team
TV
plays
play
hard,
Sona,
what the hell? That's one of my best champs right now. if you're playing a hard team fight comp, then you're chilling with it. If you're not, then yeah, having your top 4 or 5 champs all enchanters, probably not the best. Um, but what do I know?
But I think Veracity is going to be a good team, and I think they have a good ADC paired with. I mean, Scarlet's really good in their own right. They played other champs. Like they played Rel games. They played Rakan. I'm just concerned for early season because there's lots of good bot laners. So we'll have to see.
All it takes is a little bit of a shift towards enchanter bot lanes and top 3 player.
Beric champion. So honestly, on paper, it looks really good. Is Barbaric. Paired with one hand, do I expect these players to be in the top half? Yes, that's why Barbaric champion's at number 5. Barbaric's pool is wild. I couldn't get a good read on what he likes to play. Like a couple splits ago, he was playing top lane. Last split, it was a lot of Lux, Thresh. This split, he's playing Vel'Koz. So we'll have to see. I think that lends, I think the variety lends to being a good player overall. A lot of skill expression, so I think Barbaric's gonna be right up there.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I don't think they're gonna play the first week, based on the fact they need like 50 games. But hopefully they have enough games by the time we play them. Or I don't even know if they're in our division. I guess I should check that. But if we do play, okay, then we'll have a Barbarian showdown. We'll see how it goes.
Fight to the death. Coup de grace. Number 4. Gotta make these quick before Twitch forces us. Billy Butthole. Crazy name. Looking at Billy, OSGA, in my opinion, probably the stronger roster of the 2 sister teams. Really good pairing with Xarxes. I still don't know how to say the name. Not the highest rank, but has a really good pool. A lot of variety of champions. Honestly, I think if OSGA really pops off and surprises some teams that might think they're better than them, I think Billy's going to be a big part of that. I think he's going to have to affect a lot of the map with Novocaine.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see if they pull out any of the mid lane champs that they used to rock. Some spiciness. For number 3, it's top 3, bronze.
Yep.
Adrian Legitness.
He's been in the chat.
Who has been in the chat?
Yeah. Shout out to Adrian for being here. Saying already he's gonna reel in his jungle to play some more comp-centric stuff, which is good. You like to see a strong presence from your support, making a lot of the shot calls. Paired with Macho, could be one of, if not the best bot laners by bot lane pairings by year's end.
Yeah, no
we'll
pressure.
Have to see. But a lot is going to be expected out of Macho and Adrian. Just because feathers is feathers. He is solid. He won't win you 8 games, but he also won't lose you them.
True. Oh man, I don't get. In the chat, I won't get too spicy. Is playing 1 game of ranked on each different champion. I got yelled at doing that before. No. But anyway, top 3 on what's gonna be a very good roster, I think. So.
Yep. Or really bad. I don't know. Roars. I can never tell.
VT.
Number 2, Lunar Paw. I think OTLO. We'll have to confirm here in a second how far up we have them listed, but one of the top teams in the league, paired with Kakino. I think it's going to be very stable bot lane. I don't think they're going to be asked to do too much. There is some champion pool specific issues I have, but all factors considered, ending them at number 2. I think the ceiling is there. I don't know if they'll stay number 2 the whole split or throughout the split, but starting off at number 2 for us for preseason.
Yeah, a lot of Nami and Zyra games. See if we give any of those champs to Lunar Paw. And as we're going through this, I realize how many good teams are in this league. Even though we went through this beforehand, especially with the bot lane and the support. So everybody has their work cut out for them. Last but
And
not
yep,
least,
I was gonna say it. You took the words right out of my mouth.
some person named Triumphant. I don't know. Are they good?
Top two, but not number two, is Triumphant. Ferdy pairing. Expectation to be probably the best bot lane pairing. If not, then something surprising happened. No, the ceiling is really high. Triumphant, variety of champs. I know he was really easy to draft with when our boy Salo was coaching him in a rivals tournament. Um, they like to have fun, and when you like to have fun, you usually win. So Triumphant takes the number one spot for supports.
And
That's
I'll
all the
see
rules.
you tomorrow. uh, that is number one. On NLE Rivals plays in tomorrow. So, good champ pool. Not nervous at all. No. We'll going to throw it to a quick break, and then we'll
Make it
knock
fast. 4
out top
seconds.
lane and other stuff. Be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We got one more position group to run through. That is the top lane. Typically whining about not getting counter pick. We decided that they get to go last because of that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So let's get this started with number 14.
Oh, shocker.
It is CE White. All right. We've said enough about CE. I think the actual player now is Prussian. Currently Emerald 4 with a 67% win rate. Make with that what you will.
Suspicious.
13.
Matrix.
Really cool name. Matrix is on the OSGA roster. It really comes down to solo queue ranking. Currently bronze 4. And has only played Aurora this season. So I'm a little bit concerned. But unless the bottom falls out from under Matrix, only way to go is up. He's
Yeah.
definitely, played other champions than Aurora. In fact, lots of mid lane champs. We talked about how typically playing mid, so that's another reason why you don't see him listed so high. But maybe he finds his next true love in top lane.
Best way to get better at a role is to practice it. So they say.
Angry for DP. I really like Angry's champ pool. I don't know if it really moves over to competitive. Stuff like Scion, Gnar, Yone, Ambessa. So definitely like high volatility. Interesting thing to note is he's playing mostly jungle right now in this season. Maybe he thinks jungle's OP, but maybe he's practicing those champs so that they can flex some top. But not a lot of high expectations for the DP roster, and being low ranked, kind of just, bronze 4. It's an uphill battle for the rest of the league.
Yeah, I think Angry and Matrix might be battling for one of the bottom spots. And that's just a paper test, so we will see how it goes. But right now, yeah, being that low rank, you can only expect to be pre-season ranked at the bottom.
Moving on to number 11. Reverse for Blacktip. So Reverse is another one of those players that has a unique champ pool. I think the name comes from the fact that he mains Singed, likes to throw people in reverse over the shoulder. I'm a little bit concerned about champ pool. It's just like a lot of what they used to call the what was that patch when like Skarner and Darius and Garen all got reworked? The Juggernauts. A lot of Juggernaut champs for reverse, so could be abused with some counters. Remains to be seen. Once again, low ranking, sitting at silver 2, ending up at number 11.
Yeah, we'll see if any team actually gives Reverse Singed. I think by far overall most played champ, so we'll see.
Into the top 10 we go with
Who the fuck is this guy?
Death Knight. So you want to tell the story of Death Knight for our folks watching?
Death Knight played mid lane for Rivals last split, and then started this split as our starting AD carry, and has now, as of a week-ish ago, swapped to top lane. He has played top lane before, a few splits back, so it's not like he's learning a new role. Just has to brush some of the dust off. So Death Knight back into the top lane, top 10. Making sure he doesn't run in my room and like shut my computer off or something.
Knocking some rest off is Death Knight. CB's words, top lane is the best lane for Death Knight, performs the best. There was points where when he was top, he was the best performing Rivals player for that roster iteration. So definitely room to to move up.
Yeah.
Number
We're down.
9. We're down. Diet Coke. Diet Coke is one of the players with these volatile top lane champions. Actually, if you look at his pool, it looks like BK's. Lots of Alawi, Cho'Gath. I think Cho'Gath's really broken on the patch. Urgot, Volibear.
Some
I
jungler
expect lots
flexes.
of fights to the death top with Diet Coke.
He wants Atacon.
Yeah. I gotta run and take my dog out. He's scratching at the door. CB, you got this.
Okay, no pressure at all.
This is your practice.
Apparently, I've never been on live stream before. All right, Diet Coke. Decent champ pool. We had to move BK's out of the top lane because he had a similar champ pool, so we'll see if your team does the same. No, I'm just kidding. Top 9, so not the worst spot to be. Looks like you have quite a few games on Zac, so we'll see if we get some spicy Zac in the top lane. Don't know if that's an actual flex for your jungler, but maybe it comes out. But top 9, we will go to top 8. Tiny Fists of Fury. And before I get into that player, let me give a quick shout out to Adrian Legitness, Triumphant, One Who Dares to Dream, The Runic Blade, and Soul Aurelia for the follow. Much appreciated. We found it a little bit better to kind of do it in groups, so I'm not like stopping mid-sentence or whatnot as people follow. So, but yeah, back to our top player in the bottom half. I don't know if that's a backhanded compliment or not. For Tiny Fist of Fury, we have overall Braum Lives Matter as a bottom ranked team just because of solo duo ranks. And you landed at number 8 because of your solo rank is, I think, gold. I have old man memory, so we'll see. Peak plat in gold now. Plays a decent amount of Teemo. This is one of the players we mentioned earlier that plays Teemo. I would love to see it in an actual comp game if whoever's drafting actually lets you do it. If not, hate to see it. But at least you're getting some practice in. So, top 8, I could see this player falling or rising, kind of depending. I think like 6 through 10 or 11 is all kind of completely up in the air. So we'll see after we get through 1 week.
All right, chat. How do we do? How did he do on his own?
That's the most words I've said on any stream. What the hell? Don't do that to me again.
Dude, my dog, of course, wants to go out when it's snowing outside here in Texas. Oh. Did you talk about how Tiny Fist of Fury's most top played champ is Teemo?
I did do that.
There you go. That was my one my one note for him. You'd be awesome for Veracity. While I expect most of the action to be mid with Limestone, I think you'd be awesome. Could be awesome. Lots of volatility right now. I'm best of Pantheon Jax for his top 3 so far this split. Do I think he's gonna have to carry his team? No, but can he be a carry? I think so. Right in the middle because definitely room to peak and move up, but also a lot of room to potentially fall.
Could go up, could go down. I think we'll see. Hopefully their jungler just misses one game. I know the jungle top synergy can play a big role in where you rank, so we'll see.
Moving on to number 6. RH Cheese of Sub-Zero. While I think Avalanche has the better roster overall, I think Sub-Zero has potentially the better top half. Of course, with Matrix at 13, it was probably likely Cheesy to slot in maybe a little bit above them. Interesting about Cheese is he doesn't like playing top. It doesn't seem. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I'm seeing some Victor Bot. I'm seeing a lot of different stuff. Keeping people on their toes is RH Cheese. I like the versatility. I would like to see a little bit more focus on the role. so I can scout you better. I'm just kidding. uh,
Yeah, you're just playing the smart game. Chess.
yeah. I think definitely room to climb for Cheese, but just worried about potentially the roster overall.
That's fair. That's fair. Top 6 though, nothing to be upset about.
Yeah. Neptune rises top 5 once again for a player in Plasma Wolves. Paired with Nunez in Paris, could be a very strong top. Crazy high win rates right now on all of his main champs. Lots of variety as well. Could be one of, if not the best, laning top laner. But a lot of top right now is knowing how to play the map, so to speak. Lots of different objectives to take so now on the map, especially with the TP changes. I like top as a role where it's at and the importance of it. It's not just laning now, which I think is a good change.
Yeah, definitely top 5 deserving. This but looks like it's going well for them. So we'll see if that translates actually into comp. I've seen this player play a little bit, so I'm not surprised that they fell in the top 5 for preseason. We'll see if they stay there.
Moving on to just outside the top 3, that is number 4. Complex for TD Blessings. Blessed. Sorry, not Blessings. Complex, between them and Ribbon, potentially one hand, but I think Complex has the most room to shine on their own. Not the highest ranking top laners of the bunch, so to speak. But I think they're going to be sneaky good, which is why they slotted in number 4. Concerns about the roster overall, but TD usually puts together good rosters. If they do well, I think Complex is going to be standing out. If they don't do well, I don't expect Complex to be really abused by any of the other tops. I think he'll stand his own ground. So we'll just have to see if the top 5 ranking is deserving.
Yeah, looks like this player does play a lot of Garen. We'll see if I haven't seen Garen in a comp game in a minute, couple splits, but we'll see if they pull it out since it is bring Atacon to my lane kind of meta. So we'll see if they want to fight early.
Number 3, top 3, Feathers. I said it earlier, Feathers is a player that won't win you a game, but he also won't lose you one. Really solid, steady rock during laning phase. Keeps up in CS, doesn't die, or very hard to kill. And then really knows how to play the map. Known for team fighting. Vocal on comms. I played with him in a draft league once. We did pretty well. He has his 3 champs, so some teams might go after that. We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, definitely the times we've seen him play or played against him, it seems like you have to really think on whether or not you want to use both bans second phase or just one ban, and sometimes that'll come back to bite you. So I think it's draft importance when you have a team that has feathers on it.
Top 2, number 2, we have Coach Silent K for TFF. Looking at Coach Silent K, not the highest in terms of individual rankings, but up there. Beneficiary of being on a good team, perhaps. Does have a really solid pool. I know he's split time. I think he used to be a jungle in comp, a couple of seasons ago. I remember seeing his name around, so definitely knows how to play the macro game, which for top laners that aren't well versed in macro could be a bit of a learning curve early on this season, because I really do think their presence is needed, and it has to be done with the TP changes. You can't be solely reactive when TPing. Like, you have to have some forethought, because it takes a while for TP to go through. So I think that will bode well for Coach Silent K.
Yeah, definitely not surprised there in the top 3. Like you said, solid team. A little bit of a question mark since you kind of said it as a good thing, could be a bad thing. We'll see. Plays a lot of jungle, but I assume it's going to translate just fine. And you can tell your jungler just to camp you, so works out.
True. Expect lots of grubs being taken for TFF. That leaves number 1. Dude. Can somebody tell me how to pronounce this guy's name? I think it's Pilum Murialis. Pilum. Probably means something. Don't know what. There you go. Scavenger hunt. For anybody who's curious. But for OTLO, gonna be a solid roster overall. With Latex Monkey being the player of caliber that he is, I expect Pilum Murialis to get plenty of jungle attention, especially when grubs are up. Has a great, variety of champs he plays. Overall, really solid player. Of the top winners, definitely expect him to do well, most if not all the split.
Yeah, maybe excluding week 1, unless they're about to spend all night playing some ranked games. It looks like they need quite a few, assuming the sheet's updated. So
we only went off starters, so
true. I actually don't think they have any subs, so they might have to.
Aspect of Noxus. I keep telling you this.
What? Not on the. Okay, whatever. Not on this roster. What do you
On
mean?
OTLO?
He's on our roster. So are you tripping?
He's not on our roster.
You're tripping.
Oh, he's on 2 rosters.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, the drama.
Anyway, yeah, Murialis number 1. We'll see if they fall. We'll see if they get to play. It's probably the first hurdle. But yeah, that's it for the top laners as a preseason.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe half these players aren't even there by season's end. We'll see. Like I said before, don't really think of it as a prediction of how these players are going to do throughout the split. Just a snapshot of what we expect to come week 1 and early on in the season. They'll be updated throughout the week, every week, potentially Mondays, but we'll see how often that happens. It'll happen, just I don't know about every Monday.
True. Okay, so the last 2 things we have is we're going to do the team rankings, which, again, it's mostly just a paper test. And then we'll do a quick little predictions for week 1. I think we can get through the team rankings in 16 minutes.
Are you sure? I don't know. People are going to have opinions.
Yeah, true. It's up to you.
When was the last time you read off followers, by the way? Gotta keep you
I
honest.
did. Oh, you might. Oh, you
did?
weren't here. I did when you were gone.
Okay.
We'll
Just
go.
wanted to
We'll
make
go.
sure.
We're gonna rock with it. We're gonna go team. We're gonna go team rankings.
Okay. We'll try to speedrun these.
Yeah. Again, paper test for the most part. Right now we expect people to go up and down, and it wouldn't be fun if we had every team correct. So
Yeah, that's why you play the games.
So here we are. We'll just go ahead and kick it off.
All right, who is coming in at last? Chat, who do we think? CE White, of course. The team that didn't have their roster ready. I don't really know what's going to happen. I think their top laner looks scary good. If it's actually going to be who is listed. But they didn't have a roster ready when we made these, so I think it to be 14 for the week.
Only up for them.
BLM. I don't know. We talked a lot about BLM and their bot side. What are stepping into their shoes? You see yourself at 13. You want to prove us wrong. What do you think is the expectation? How did they get there?
Part of it is just overall. There's a bunch of teams that have either mostly all plat players or a couple emerald players sprinkled in. So it's just kind of tough on paper, regardless. I think part of it's going to be one, team chemistry, and also finding who your actual win cons. Rank doesn't really mean everything, especially if you have good champ pools and whatnot. But for now, this is really just overall ranking. Having some lower ranked players on your team, it's gonna slot you at number 13 for the preseason, and we'll see if they can climb.
I agree. Number 12.
Number 12.
Chat, if you think we're wrong, let us know. We don't know everybody. OSG Avalanche.
See, I know
Uh,
most of this time you've been saying you thinking OSG Avalanche is going to be better than Sub-Zero.
so we had our scientific rankings, and for some reason, somebody put them low. I think
Whoa.
they're going to be better, but on paper, I think overall, top to bottom, the skill level is probably higher on average for OSGS. I am concerned about OSGS's bot lane. I think OSGA has a better bot lane, but their solo lanes leave a little bit to be desired. And so if you're a solo lane believer, if you think games are won through solo lane, Avalanche is get a slot there. That's the majority, if not the only reason why OSGA is ranked number 12. I think they have a really good jungle. I think they have a really solid bot lane. But if you have no solo lane pressure, games are going to be hard.
True. Yeah. And like all these and everything that we've gone through tonight, it is mostly all calculation slash paper based. Moving forward, other weeks will be a little bit of our input and what we think. So we'll see how
And then
everyone
there's
shakes
ranking.
up.
There's like there's stats we'll go off of, and of course,
Yeah.
um,
Right now, this is just your opportunity to prove us wrong and make us look dumb.
yep, we're just a bunch of pencil pushers over here.
Mm-hmm.
Number 11. What's that say?
DP Hellfire.
Any
What? Number 11.
any observations? Deserved, undeserving,
I'm slightly surprised that Avalanche
or
fell
above Avalanche? Yeah.
below them. So I don't know. Just because DP Hellfire does have, I would guess, one of, if not the lowest overall ranks, but probably pretty close to Braum Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you have 2 bronze and 1 silver player. That's tough. Granted, rank only means so much. So I know DP usually has a bunch of teams throughout their organization, so that's always a plus. Granted, so does OSG. So I don't know. I'd say deserving until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I think if you really were to like split up the rankings, you could probably split them up into thirds. The bottom third teams are probably interchangeable. Um, so BLM, OSGA, DP Hellfire, probably the other OSG team.
Yeah, maybe.
It's anybody's guess.
True. It's gonna be the battle of like the gold average teams to see who ends up not only ranking higher, but knocking down some of the teams that are like, oh, this team's all plat and emerald. See if
We
that
also
actually
did these
matters.
rankings before some of the rosters changes went through, so
That's true.
that could have been influence as well. Anyways, top 10, HP Blacktip. I think HP Blacktip's a team that doesn't have the highest of ceilings, but also doesn't have the lowest of floors. I think what you see is what you're gonna get with this team. Can they do some upsets? Sure. Can they lose to teams that they probably should win to? Probably. Number 10, not bad, not great. Uh,
Yeah,
I think he's got a lot gonna have to do a lot to make this team climb, but the potential's there.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of the ranks, the roster swap that just happened. Granted, you do have one of the better 80 carries, so we'll see if they can play through that strength. I would say there's a decent little gap between 10 and like 11. I think is where you start to get into that kind of middle tier you were talking about. And we'll see if they can climb throughout that tier. I don't see them dropping into the bottom 3 or anything like that, but they could.
They could. Number 9, there's the other OSG team. It's really just a matter of do you value bot lane presence or solo lane presence. Sub-Zero definitely on paper has the better solo laners. Probably the better top half. Between the two teams, the two sister teams.
Yeah, I'm
Do
curious.
I think? Well, go ahead.
I'm curious to see. I assume they internal scrim. I'm sure nobody will leak the scrim, but I'm curious
Mhm.
to know who's winning in their scrims. And I guess we'll see. I don't know. Are they in? Oh, they are in separate sector divisions, right? Just because they are
Yeah,
under the same
they are.
organization, so they might not play at all. I think you have one cross division game, but I
It'd be cool
assume
to see a civil war for it.
true, true. So we'll see if Sub Zero can keep that gap. Right now, they have a 1 week bragging rights over their sister team.
Moving on to number 8, aka the top of the bottom half. TD Blessed. Paper, top to bottom. So this is a team that doesn't have the highest ranking of players. I think I moved them maybe a little bit up because TD is usually putting teams in playoffs. Do I think the Blessed team is a playoff team? Right now, mm, probably not. But do they have the potential? I do think so. Um, that's why they end up at number 8. Not exactly 100% sure how playoffs works here at Sentinels. I know we have like the group stage and the play-in and all that
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
but
Are they
definitely a
in?
team that could end up being there.
Are they in 2 or 1? I guess I
They're in
don't know. I
1.
guess I have it up. 1. Oh
We're of the
yeah.
opinion. So here's another hot take for you. Chat, get your fingers ready. We're of the opinion that Sector 1 is significantly better than Sector 2, but
True.
we could be wrong.
Could be wrong. On paper, Sector 1 looks like the tougher one. How confident are you we're going to make an 8-minute run right here?
An 8-minute run.
Mm-hmm.
That's like what, 1 minute per team? I'm not very confident. Are we gonna throw it to an ad break real quick and then do the last half?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do it. We
All
don't
right.
want it to happen in the middle of looking at teams, and we also don't want to give a team like a 5-second
Rundown.
analysis.
Yeah.
So there's your bottom 8. We will be right back with your top 8.
Heard the number 7 team's overrated.
Oh.
I've been told I'm unmuted, which means I must speak. Welcome back. We're going to do the top 8 rest of the rankings. CB, click through it. Because we're at 14. I don't want to talk about all these teams again. We just talked about them.
Yeah, just let it go. Let it
One
go.
more time. To recap, 14 CE White, 13 BLM, 12 OSGA, 11 DP Hellfire, 10 HP Blacktip, 9 OSG Sub-Zero, 8 TD Bless. That brings us to number 7, Rivals.
What the? I need a recount or something.
I think we definitely have potential to be one of the top teams in the league. I think there might be some growing pains early on. Do I think we will make playoffs? Yes.
I hope so.
But our focus is week to week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously part of this is the on-paper test of just overall ranks, how we stack up against some of these top teams. So we are middle pack in that sense, and then a new jungler we're still getting some chemistry with, and 2 players just having role swapped. So a bunch of moving pieces. But I really think this team can just climb. So yeah, that's the hopes. No bias at all.
Number 6.
Dun, 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 dun. Our opponent.
NLE Choppas. One of the best spots in the league. All around solid roster. I don't know. What else can you say really about NLE here?
I think we'll know a lot more in about 24 hours. But yeah, definitely a solid team. Not the highest ranks in their solo lanes. It's probably why they're at 6 and not higher, since they do have one of the better, if not the best, duo bot lanes. And we shall see. I don't want to say too much because then I'll leak a strat that we have going on for them. But no, definitely deserving of the top half teams. And we'll see if Rivals or NLE Choppas is on top of one another after tomorrow.
I definitely think solidly playoff contender. Could have the ceiling to go even further than that, but right now, number 6 is pretty good for NLE here. Number 5.
It's Plasma Wolves. When they first pop up, I'm like, no way they're this low, just because I feel like all their players have been so high. But then I think of how many good teams there are, so not surprised they're top 5. I could see them being top 3 after just a couple weeks. Definitely some solid players. One of the best overall teams, and they have 2 solo queue warriors on their team. Obviously, just one starting. We'll see how much weight that holds as we go into week 1.
Yeah, I think for Plasma Wolves, it's not a matter of like if they're gonna make playoffs. It's like how far can they go. All the talent and skill in the world to be even champions with Sentinel. There's just a lot of good teams. And what comes after 5, CB?
21.
Not 21. It's number 6. It was a trick question, but number 4 is Veracity. Veracity is like a wild card team for me. I think Limestone with Tyler through 501. I know Rich is playing for week 1. But top to bottom, especially with those 2, I mean, they could really shock a lot of people with just like the uniqueness of championship pools, the style of play that they could potentially bring. At the same time, I could see them not even making playoffs.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So one of the volatile teams.
Yeah.
High ceiling, high floor.
High ceiling
Or high
middle-ish
ceiling.
to low floor.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's what I meant, but
Yeah.
close enough. Okay. Top 4. Nothing to be upset about.
Mm-hmm.
The one and only.
Roar number 3. So I saw somebody say Roar's too high if they're not number 8. This roster looks solid on paper. I mean, I like CB said, he was surprised that it was a Raw roster. Uh, do they make playoffs? Maybe. Did they go far in playoffs? Who knows? Could they miss playoffs? They absolutely could, probably. I don't know. Veracity and Roar, I think peaking like at their peaks are probably slotted in, probably where they should be. Uh, does that mean that they'll make it there? Mm, I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced, but based on
If
paper, that's where they land.
if you covered the team name and just look at the roster, attempting to take any past bias out of it, I feel confident that they're top five. Um, just because some of the other teams I don't like recognize or haven't really played against, so
Hmm.
I don't know. I know some people were saying they want them lower, but I don't know. The roster looks solid.
They can make us eat our words the very first week. We'll see. But right now they're at number 3. Number 2, OTLO. Now, I've said my piece about part of OTLO. Uh, very solid roster, right up there with like Plasma Wolves and the only team that's not listed thus far, TFF. I think they have all the talent to be the best team in the league. I have major concerns about how they're going to gel. Um, didn't necessarily really peg them for that in these rankings, but they are there. I think top to bottom, this roster has really solid players. Can they put it together and be solid week in, week out? I don't know.
Yeah, this I would probably put this team as the most volatile. I not surprised they're at the top, uh, but if in a few weeks they end up at like 7, I wouldn't be surprised. It just kind of depends. Um, also, I mean, we already mentioned certain players and whatnot. Also, the top lane are not having enough games. We'll see if they miss 1 or 2 games. But yeah, this is just one of those teams to look at. I think they could. I think they'll jump around. I think they'll jump around the split in our
Around,
rankings.
jump around, jump up, and get down. Number 1.
Just chilling. Just chilling. Number
We're
one.
just chilling at number 1. In terms of like solo queue rankings, you might be thinking, these guys are kind of not that high in solo queue rank. They all have championship experience though. They're all very versatile. They're well versed in how comp goes. I expect them to put the work in. Right now, my favorites. I don't know about UCB, but my favorites to maybe win the whole thing.
I mean, personally, my favorite's probably Rivals. Is probably what
Rivals. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I mean,
I
yeah,
mean that goes without
TFF.
saying. But if you can't pick
Oh, okay,
rivals,
okay. No,
yeah.
TFF. I know on the like LXC roster sheet, it looks like they're kind of middle pack as far as ranks because it's like 3 golds and 2 plats. But if you actually look at like peak ranks and whatnot,
Hmm.
they are the highest. Actually, I think the first, second, and third seed right here are all tied. So it was kind of the eyeball test. But yeah, there's no glaring weak link on TFF. You can say that for a few teams, but everybody looks pretty solid. So I just think their ceiling is the highest out of everybody.
So there you have it. Take a screenshot. Chat. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Who's too high? Who's too low? Would love to hear your takes. I think we did an okay job. I'm I'm convinced with our thirds. I think the top, middle, and bottom third are relatively accurate. Now the
Yeah,
actual specific placings of the teams might not be.
true. That's up to
Uh,
them.
yeah, it is up to them. Just win and go move up. That's
Mhm.
the beauty of power rankings.
Yeah, the best way to
It's
climb is
all
just to
about
win.
success. Yep. But there you have it. There's the preseason power rankings.
Yep. So last ish, but not least, week 1 predictions. So I don't forget it. To say it, I'm gonna do this shameless plug now, as we have a second. Rivals started hosting tournaments. We've hosted 2 so far. 2 different teams have won them, so no back-to-back champ or anything like that. But if you're interested and want some extra practice as your team, it's around the plat-ish elo. Information's probably in most every Discord you could look at, but definitely an hour's posted. Here in a few weeks, we're going to be having our Heartbreaker Bash tournament. So it'll be fun, not to take away from any league or anything like that. We tried not to overlap with as many leagues you might be playing in as possible. But we took a vote. Friday, February 7th is when we will be streaming, casting, producing some fun content for the teams that sign up. Anything
Yeah,
else?
it's been really fun. We've had some special surprises for those that have participated. A little bit of a buy-in, but if you win it all, you walk away with the whole shindig, the whole enchilada, as they like to say. It's been really fun, but really competitive. Definitely good practice for those that like competing. The beauty of it is, it doesn't even have to be the team that you're on.
Yeah,
You could just get some friends together,
throw some
or
subs in
lovers.
there. Or okay. Let's take a
And
person from another team. Do a sneaky
yeah,
tryout without telling your team. Who knows? Who knows what you want to do?
yeah,
But yeah.
there it is.
Uh,
Heartbreaker Bash. Okay, predictions. What everyone's here to see. Actually, I think everybody was here to see the power rankings, but we're gonna do the preview and predictions. OSGA and HPB.
this
Kind
is
of a
okay.
toss up in my opinion. It's a tough one.
GA, solid bot lane. PB, solid bot lane. Got the role swap going on. I'll go first. We'll
Mhm.
go with the. We're gonna go with Hydro Pump Blacktip, 2-1.
Hey, 2-1.
2-1.
I'm gonna go OSGA 2-0.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think Novocaine has a solid grasp of what it means to be a good jungler. Not that, DPH doesn't. I just think that's going to be the deciding factor. So there you go. Uh,
Okay. We shall see.
Chat, we'd love to see your predictions. Can't really do the predictions because the games can't be played.
That'd be too many. Too many.
But
Let me check. I think most every team is playing default day and time, which is tomorrow night at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. There are 2 games that are changed, but this is not one of them. So, yeah. Okay. So split so far between us.
I'll have to go back and keep track.
Yeah. Should probably write them down, I guess. But
got the bold 2-0 for me for OSGA.
yes, we went back and forth on whether or not we add stuff about our own team, because it's always just like if we say anything good, it's biased. If we say anything bad, it's us trying too hard to be not biased. So, I think we said we're just gonna let this one ride.
It's there for those of you that wants to throw your predictions. We're not gonna touch it because I think you all know who we will vote for. But
I think it's gonna be. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
it's gonna be a close one. I think for sure. I don't. My honest opinion is I don't see either of these teams 2-0ing. But we'll see.
Yeah, this is going to be the streamed game from LXC. I was a little surprised. There's a couple other games that I could see rival this matchup, but I do think this is going to be a very good matchup. So we'll see. Probably 3 games, hopefully 2, but that's
okay. Moving on. We've got.
This is a game.
Yeah, this is a game for sure. 2 of the top 5 teams, in our opinion, going at it. Would definitely love somebody to stream this one so I can go back and watch, see what these teams, how they play. Since you started first, I'll start mine. My prediction here. I think it's gonna be Plasma Wolves 2-1.
Okay. I also think it's gonna be Plasma Wolves 2-1.
There you go. Okay.
It's tough. It feels bad both of us saying that when it's like, well, you just put TFF the number 1 team. But yeah, 2 of the very best teams for sure in this league. But I don't know. Plasma Wolves looks. I would pick them in just about any matchup for going into week 1. So.
We'll have to see. Somebody's saying there's going to be a lot of roster changes for TFF, so maybe that we're justified in our 2-1 prediction.
True.
So here's a cross division game. I think they said that cross division will count towards eventual placements for playoffs.
Okay. You
Not
only have
quite sure
one, so
how. Maybe just because of overall record. If you lose that game, then
yeah,
it'll be like a tiebreaker or something.
I assume it would just count towards. I mean, your overall match record, so it just counts as your.
Yeah,
You just don't
that's
get
what I mean.
placed.
Like
You
if
just don't
you're
get ranked against them. Yeah.
if you're like the same win loss in division, but you lost your cross division, maybe that bounces you. But interesting little cross division matchup we got here.
Yeah. I go first. We got what,
Yeah.
TD.
Can I guess? Wait, can I? Oh, okay.
No, I was reading both team names. But TD
Okay.
Blessed,
Yep.
Blessed, and DP Dropping Point, Hellfire.
Let me guess what your prediction is gonna be. It's gonna be TD Blessings 2-1. TD Blessed 2-1.
It's gonna be TD Blessed 2-0 is what I believe
Okay.
will happen.
I thought I should have went with my gut.
They got Barbaric support. Oh, he's probably not gonna play, but in theory, I think TD
Yeah.
Blessed looks pretty solid. DPH is just gonna be in that kind of small group of teams that I can't pick them to win until they prove themselves. So I guess it's not really fair since no one has yet. We haven't started, but on paper test, TDB looks pretty decent, pretty solid.
Yeah, I'll go TDB 2-1. I think early season, not all the kinks have been ironed out for a lot of the teams here, which is part of why I think TFF's gonna lose. I think despite that, I think TDB overall talent level is probably call it a smidge better than DP. But there's always power with playing on a chip on your shoulder. So if DP hates us, I hope they use it as fuel.
That's fair.
It was another good game.
Yeah.
So I think these are the two. I'll kind of talk about these. I think these are going to be two of the top 3 teams for Division 2 or Sector 2. The other being Roar. So kind of a banger first matchup for them. Unfortunate because you would like to see this game happen maybe later in the season if you're one of these teams, just because it is so early. Veracity is going to be without their jungler, so that's going to play a part in my decision. I think it's going to be OTLO 2-1.
2-1. You're just gonna say 2-1 for everybody. That's not really fair.
No,
right?
I started with 2-0.
Don't be afraid.
I started with 2-0. With the first one.
Okay.
Anyways,
Veracity is going to have a sub. What, sub jungle? Yeah, sub jungle.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe OTLO is gonna have to have a sub top laner. I don't see. I probably should have pulled it up as I was talking about it, but yeah.
All I know is Aspect of Noxus is listed for both us and them, so you're gonna have to figure that out.
What's she talking about, Willis? I don't know about it. I don't see him on their roster, so I don't know. Isn't he an arbiter? Isn't that what you said, or something, or some other league?
No, he's listed on Sector 2 under OTLO, the first sub slot.
Not on my screen. I probably need to exit out or something. I don't know.
Refresh maybe.
Okay, so I mean, I guess he's probably gonna be playing then. I would assume so. We'll see. Either way, I would pick. It's so tough. I'm a Veracity fan, and probably just biased because we've scrimmed them. So, I don't really know OTLO at all, except for maybe recognizing 1 or 2 players. I'll go Veracity 2-1. Yeah, I think it's gonna be some. I don't want to say lucky win one of the games, but a win's a win. So I'm gonna go Veracity 2-1.
You sound very confident in your prediction.
Yeah, I think if they play a few weeks from now, I'd probably go OTLO. But I think Veracity's gonna pull it out week 1.
All right. Oh, 2 more games?
I think so.
the other Sector 2
Not
game.
a lot to go off on this one yet, just because CW is missing players, but the few that we've seen and the one or two that's came through, I'd probably go like a decent 2-0 win for CEY if they actually have enough players and play and don't have to lose bans and whatnot. I assume they'll lose a ban or something. Um, not having players on the roster yet, but
Yeah.
mm,
Um, if the top laner goes through with the mid, I think I think you're exactly right. I think it's CW 2-0 win. There could be like misbands and I don't know, maybe the support's not great that they pick up. But I think it's been well documented. We think BLM's gonna have a uphill battle most of the season. Um, maybe if they pull off an upset, it comes at the hands of like Drakenrich, comma and Tiny Fists. I know Chow was saying a lot of them. That top half is really good, but um, I don't see it happening. So contingent esports white too. Though.
this is our first agreement. Maybe second.
Second,
Yeah, yeah.
you had TD Bless winning 2-0, I think. I had 2-1. So
Yeah. I mean, CEY hasn't posted their weekly roster, which I think means they probably have already lost a ban or two. Um, probably still going to stick with 2-0, but something to note.
there you go.
And I assume last but not least, I think this is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
RAR versus OSGS. Was it Sub-Zero, right? Yep. So
Mm-hmm.
solid players. They have a couple games to do, but they'll probably knock those out. I don't know, this split season. I'm going for RAR, rooting for RAR, I guess, probably in most of their matchups. So I'm high on them. I'm gonna go with a 2-0 convincing RAR kickoff to the Sentinel split.
Uh, I'm gonna go 2-1. Roar's a team that I think can drop some games. I think they'll win the series, of course. We did have them ranked number 3. OSGS's bot lane scares me going against Macho and Adrian. I think they have the potential to be one of the top bot lane duos. So I'll go 2-1. I'll say OSGS takes a game off.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, for as much as I was talking about Feathers being a rock, uh, the new meta with all the changes, um, if he could be a little bit more volatile is better, and that's not Feathers gameplay. I don't know if that really hurts them, but it's just an observation. So maybe that leads to a OSGS victory here for one game. But I think Roar gets the rest of them. So there you have it. Our preview predictions, the rankings.
A little bit of
What
everything.
else do we do? We do a little bit of
A
everything.
little bit of everything today. It'll be similar-ish format. I think we'll iron out some stuff, and there'll be a little bit less who is this player and what champs they play type thing as we move forward and get to know some of these players. Of course, roster changes are going to happen, but yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of everything. I'm sure we maybe ruffled some feathers, but hopefully everyone knows it's kind of the on-paper test for this preseason. Week 1's going to be that really spicy one to where we probably disagree on some things. You and I will get to have some good spicy predictions going into week 2 and whatnot. But yeah.
Actually, I think everything we said was factual, 100% correct.
Okay.
And that's exactly how the season. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely up in the air. Giving it our best guess. If you guys have any suggestions of to what you would like to see in the show, let us know. I'm gonna try to incorporate some stats as they're updated by LXC. But other than that, yeah, it's gonna be pretty much the same. We won't go over. I mean, do you want to do player rankings every week, or should we do like every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, or something?
I like doing
Every
it
week.
every week because
All right.
people like to
Hot
see.
button topics. Yeah,
I don't
for
think you
sure.
have to go in depth to every player type thing. It's more of just like see who moved around.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I like it. We keep it players and teams predictions and what happened the week before, and we'll take off kind of the roster thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was just to give a full rundown of all the players that are on rosters as of yesterday. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, well,
Maybe we can incorporate some people from different teams, get them on,
yeah.
hear their thoughts. We'll see.
Okay, you just
We're,
dropped
we're
from number 2 to 14.
mhm.
Tell us your thoughts about that. No.
Maybe not that, but we'll try some stuff out. It'll be fun. I'm excited for Sentinel. I'm excited to coach. Any departing thoughts, CB?
No. Tune into the games, whatever
All
game
right.
your heart desires. But our game is going to be streamed by LXC, so tune in tomorrow. And if you are feeling frisky, also sign up for
Rebels
our
Clash.
Heartbreaker Bash. But no, other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah, if you guys want to keep updated on when we're actually doing the show, we'll post it in LXC, obviously, but we'll have probably a more defined schedule in our Discord. Go ahead and join it there at the bottom.
That is all.
Rivals is winning the whole thing.
Oh.
Y'all have a great night, and we will see you next week.